Hollywood director 1992. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination. So don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like. And if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 151 Notice. Hello Mr. Phoenix, this is Guessing Pictures. Congratulations on passing the audition for Death, yay. Before the person on the other end of the phone could finish speaking, Joaquin Phoenix jumped excitedly from the sofa, pumping his fist in the air. Joaquin, what happened? Matt Damon, Edward Norton, Casey Affleck, and Ben Affleck looked at him in surprise. Haha, I passed the audition. Joaquin Phoenix laughed a few times, picked up the phone, and said, Sorry, Mom, I'm just too excited. Please continue. Okay, Mr. Phoenix, congratulations on landing the main role of Todd in the Death Project. If you have no objections to playing this role, please come to the Guessing Pictures Death Project office within 3 days to discuss the role. If you do not respond within 3 days, it will be considered as a voluntary withdrawal from the role. Okay, I'll come to sign the contract tomorrow, Joaquin Phoenix replied happily. The others, hearing that it was a call from Guessing Pictures about the audition, immediately became nervous. This phone call meant the main cast for Death had been decided. From now on, whoever received a call had auditioned successfully, and whoever didn't had failed. Nobody wanted to fail. I heard the film company calls in order, first the lead, then the supporting roles. Now Joaquin Phoenix, a supporting actor, has received a call. Does that mean we have no chance? Casey Affleck asked. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Edward Norton frowned. Joaquin Phoenix glanced at the three of them and continued into the phone. Mom, are Edward Norton, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck among the people you're supposed to contact? If so, just tell me. They're with me. The three looked at him nervously. Joaquin, and me too. You forgot to mention me. Casey Affleck jumped up, pointing excitedly to his nose. Joaquin Phoenix said thank you, hung up the phone, and told the four of them, the staff said they couldn't say, but they'll call you later if you pass the audition. Beep beep beep. Just then, Edward Norton's pager went off. Quick, check if it's Guess Movies. It's a Los Angeles number, but I'm not sure. It definitely is. Call back and ask. Joaquin shoved the cell phone into Edward's hand. Edward Norton called back the number, and after the call connected, he nodded repeatedly, his smile widening. It must be Guess Movies. Casey Affleck leaned on Edward's shoulder. Okay, thanks for the call. I'll come to Guess Movies to sign the contract as soon as possible. Edward Norton hung up. What role is it? Is it the male lead? The others looked at him curiously. No, supporting role Carter. Edward Norton laughed. Carter is good too. Carter is the second male lead, Matt Damon said. I thought you'd get the lead role. If not you, who would it be? Joaquin Phoenix asked. Maybe Matt or Ben. All the actors who auditioned that time were really good. Ben and I are out of the question. The lead role is for a high school student. We're not a good match, Matt Damon said. Ring. Matt Damon's cell phone rang. After the huge success of the Blair Witch Project, he and Ben received a $50,000 bonus, bringing their total earnings to over $60,000. After receiving the bonus, they both bought the latest Motorola phones. Matt Damon answered the phone. A staff member from Guess What? Studios told him he'd landed a small supporting role, Todd's brother, with a few lines. The staff member asked you if he was interested in the role. Matt Damon agreed without hesitation. Although the role was small, it was a good opportunity to play a part in Link's new movie. Matt, what role? Your brother, haha, we look quite alike. You'd be more like my brother than River, Joaquin Phoenix laughed, leaning against Matt Damon. Both had blonde hair, freckles, and weren't particularly handsome. They did look somewhat alike. Matt smiled and looked at the silent Ben Affleck. Be patient, you'll get a call. Ben Affleck shrugged. It's okay if I don't. I don't care, we don't know who the lead actor is yet. Maybe it'll be you, it doesn't matter. If I get the role, I'll take it, if not, it's fine. I don't need roles. Ben Affleck leaned back on the sofa, crossed his legs, and smiled nonchalantly. Yes, Ben's good-looking and famous now. He could audition for any production and get a role, Joaquin Phoenix said. Ring ring. Ben Affleck's phone suddenly rang. Hearing the ring, Ben's body visibly trembled. He instinctively reached for his phone, but seeing the people around him, he slowed his movement. "Ben, it's yours, answer it quickly," several people urged. "Don't rush, take your time." Ben Affleck swung his leg, casually answered the phone, listened for a few words, his face fell, and he shoved the phone into Casey Affleck's hand. "Yours, mine? I passed the audition too," the unknown Casey Affleck excitedly answered the phone. A staff member from Guessing Pictures informed him that he had been given a role for a classmate, and if he was interested, he should come to Guessing Pictures within 3 days to sign a contract. Yes, I'll come tomorrow." Casey Affleck was also unable to contain his excitement after hanging up the phone, and couldn't help but burst into laughter. He was a complete newcomer, and his previous audition at Guessing Pictures was purely a matter of luck. He never expected to receive a call from Guessing Pictures. This was wonderful. But after laughing a few times, he suddenly felt that the surroundings were too quiet. He turned his head and saw that his brother Ben's face was very bad, with a gloomy expression. "Ben, don't worry, even I passed the audition, so yours will definitely be one too. Yours will probably be a little later," Casey comforted him. "Shut up. Who told you I was in a hurry? I'm not in a hurry at all. I went to the death audition just for fun, to join the fun. I didn't intend to continue acting in Link's new movie. I'm a star now, I don't care about these small roles," Ben Affleck said, his face dark. Everyone could hear he was clearly angry, so they didn't say anything more to provoke him. After more than 10 minutes, the phone stopped ringing in the booth. Ben Affleck's expression grew increasingly grim, and the atmosphere in the booth became cold and slightly awkward. Joaquin Phoenix and Edward Norton exchanged a glance and excused themselves, saying they had something to do. Casey Affleck, unable to bear his brother's sullen state, caught up with Joaquin and suggested they go to the bar next door to celebrate. Chapter 152 It's so good. After the three left, Matt Damon poured him a beer. "Ben, didn't you say you didn't care? Why are you angry?" "I'm not angry," Ben Affleck said angrily. "Okay, you're not angry. Can you tell me what you're thinking, HMPH? Link's so petty. A billionaire, and he's got a smaller heart than a woman." Ben Affleck's face darkened, his expression extremely displeased. "What does this have to do with Link?" "Of course it does. Last time I said bad things about Link, and he got angry, so he deliberately made me fail the audition." "Really? Of course. Just now, out of the 5 of us, 4 of you got calls, only I didn't. Isn't that something Link did on purpose, trying to embarrass me in front of everyone?" Ben Affleck said angrily. If only 1-3 out of the 5 people got calls, he could ignore it, but being the only one who didn't get a call was too embarrassing. This was definitely Link retaliating against him. Link didn't know we'd be together, why would he deliberately embarrass you? Besides, Link is the director and investor of this movie. To make a good film, he'll naturally choose the most suitable actors. If you're suitable, he'll definitely use you, HMPH. You and Casey both received cameo offers from Guessing Movies, why wasn't I? You dare say this wasn't Link's doing? HMPH, Link is so petty. Even if I starve to death, I'll never act in his movies again. Ben Affleck patted his behind and left. The next day, Matt Damon and Casey Affleck went to Guessing Movies to sign a contract. Ben Affleck stayed home sulking and even kicked the teddy dog that came over to be affectionate with him. The third day, Matt Damon and Casey invited Ben to go shopping and pick up girls. Ben Affleck was also listless, lazily lying on the sofa reading magazines, specifically those criticizing Link. He sneered as he read. Matt Damon and Casey shook their heads helplessly. This guy had clearly become depressed after failing the audition. "Ben, how about I turn down the role in Death and we audition for other projects?" "No need. You guys go film Link's movie. I wish you and Link a great collaboration, critical and commercial success, and that you become superstars. Don't worry about me." Ben Affleck rolled over and continued reading his magazine. "But you've been lying on the sofa for 2 days. I'm worried you'll become paralyzed if you keep lying there." "Don't worry, I won't die." Ring ring. Ring ring. The phone rang several times. Ben Affleck impatiently picked up the phone. "Who is it?" "What is it, Mr. Ben Affleck, this is Guess What Pictures. Congratulations on passing the audition for the role in Death." "What? Really? Why are you only calling me now?" Ben Affleck jumped up from the sofa. "Ben, what's wrong?" Matt Damon and Casey asked quickly. Ben Affleck waved his hand, telling them to be quiet. "Mr. Affleck, Congratulations on passing the audition. The production team has decided that you will play the lead role of Bill Rodham. If you are interested in this role, please come to Guess the Movies within 2 business days to discuss it. I have. Are you still working? I'll be right there. Ben Affleck got up, put on his shoes and coat, and prepared to leave. Mr. Affleck, please reconsider. This role is somewhat special and requires a high level of acting skill. No need to consider, I'm open to anything, Ben Affleck shouted. Okay, if you have no objections, please come to Guess the Movies within 2 business days to sign the contract. No problem, I'll be right there. Okay, see you later, bye. After hanging up the phone, Ben Affleck clenched his fist and shook it. Ben, you got it too, that's right. They decided to give me the role of Bill Rodham, one of the main characters. That's great news, but why did they only tell you now? I just asked. They forgot my name when they notified the actors. They only realized I was missing one person after signing the contract today. They immediately called me to come over and apologized profusely. They were very sincere. I'm magnanimous and won't hold it against them, Ben Affleck laughed. But you said Link was angry the other day and deliberately didn't give you the role. How come you got it? Haha, I misunderstood. Link is a big director and a billionaire. He's very magnanimous. How could he get angry with me over such a small thing? No way. You also said that even if you starved to death, you would never work for him again, Matt Damon joked. What nonsense are you talking about? Link is our friend, he even coached us on set, he's like our teacher. How could I say something like that? Absolutely not, you still dare to say that, shut up. Ben Affleck pointed at Matt Damon and said seriously, Matt, remember this, don't ever speak ill of Link in front of me again, or I'll never forgive you. After saying that, Ben Affleck jumped into his car and drove off. Matt Damon shook his head. This guy really has a thick skin. Is this really Ben? He seems like a simp. Casey Affleck slowly came back to his senses, incredulous at his brother's change after receiving the phone call. Link is so outstanding. Ben admires him a lot and hopes to gain his attention, even to learn filmmaking from him. This successful audition is the best encouragement for Ben, Matt Damon laughed. Link is indeed very capable, a billionaire, the highest-grossing director of the year, and he's only 3 years older than me, Casey Affleck exclaimed. Link heard that Ben Affleck had come to the company to sign a contract, but he didn't go to see him. The role was originally planned for Matt LeBlanc. However, after receiving the notification, Matt LeBlanc responded that he had recently auditioned for a role at NBC's Drama Production Center and successfully landed an important one. The drama's filming schedule overlapped with Final Destination, so he had to regretfully give up the role of Bill. Later, when Link chatted with Jennifer Aniston, she said she had also received a notification from the Friends production team, and they were both cast in the same show. Friends had been in development for over 3 years, starting casting at the beginning of the year, and after several months of selection, the most suitable actors were found. Jennifer Aniston was the last of the 6 actors to join the cast. However, Jennifer will continue to guest star in Final Destination. Firstly, her role is small, and she has time to guest star while filming the drama. Secondly, Jennifer said she enjoys making movies and is very much looking forward to working with him. Chapter 153 Cricket. In its 7th week of release, The Blair Witch Project grossed $6.69 million in North America, bringing its total North American box office to $151 million and its global box office to $259 million. Link and Guess the Movies earned $166 million from the film, netting over $150 million after deducting production costs of $120,000 and marketing costs of $10 million. After making a profit, he transferred the dividends to Golden Capital to continue buying Microsoft stock. Currently, Golden Capital holds 2.87% of Microsoft shares and 0.85% of the voting rights. Due to Clinton's inauguration at the end of last year and his proposal to build the information superhighway, the internet industry has experienced rapid growth, and Microsoft's share price has risen accordingly. In April of last year, Microsoft's market capitalization was only $13.7 billion. This April, it rose to $24.3 billion, entering the top 50 U.S. companies for the first time. It continues to grow. Golden Capital will need to invest more capital to acquire more Microsoft shares. However, the increase in Microsoft shares has also pushed Golden Capital's market capitalization past $600 million. including Guess the Movies, Utah shares, and other assets. Link's net worth reached $700 million. After the 7th week's box office results for the Blair Witch Project, there were only a few media reports about the film's performance. This was because the Blair Witch Project's box office performance in the previous weeks was so phenomenal that the media and the public had generated so much enthusiasm that a few $1 million in weekly box office revenue was no longer big news. Now, media coverage of Link mainly focused on the preparation of his new film, a topic that was widely reported when Death began filming. Rumors circulated that the film's production cost was over $12 million, hundreds of times that of his previous 3 films. Increased production costs meant a larger crew, dozens of times more work, and more complicated filming. Since Link had no experience working on large-scale productions or participating in big-budget films, many people were watching with a skeptical eye, wondering if the film would succeed and continue its box office success. I heard Link's new movie has started filming. In a bar, Richard Gere, Dustin Hoffman, and Robert Downey Jr. were drinking and talking about Link. Yes, Link took the crew to New York a couple of days ago to prepare for what I heard is a campus horror movie. This guy only knows how to make horror movies. He's made 3 in a row and he's making another one. Let's see what new tricks he can come up with. This guy likes to use new actors in his movies. Now he's making a multi-million-dollar project and still only uses new actors. It's just stupid, indeed. For a high-budget film project to achieve good box office results, the main cast should have at least 1 veteran actor and 1 star actor. Link's new movie uses all new actors as the leads. The risk is too high. Head, that guy used new actors in his first 3 movies, and all 3 were huge hits. He's become overconfident. He even said in interviews that he's figured out filmmaking methods and audience preferences, and that he can succeed no matter how he films, so he doesn't care about acting veterans or star actors. He's just bragging. If he understood the market, how come The Witch only grossed a little over $300 million? Less than half of Paranormal Activity? This shows that Link is on the decline. I have a feeling this movie will be a complete flop. Haha, I think so too. Cheers, we can't be careless. Link is a billionaire, he has money and resources. Even if this movie fails, it won't affect him too much. We should pay close attention to him, and ideally find some dirt on him to expose, making the audience hate him and stop supporting his movies. What dirt does Link have? Oh, I heard he's a womanizer, with a beautiful Monica Bellucci, and also has ambiguous relationships with Jennifer Connelly, Sofia Coppola, Brooke Shields, and others. Does that count as dirt? Should we expose it? It's useless. Link isn't married to any of those women. Exposing it will only give him more gossip and increase his exposure. It won't have much other impact. To ruin Link's reputation, we need real dirt. That's difficult. I've investigated. Link doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink excessively, doesn't gamble, and doesn't go to nightclubs or strip clubs. He usually goes out with bodyguards and has almost no bad habits. It'll be very difficult to find anything against him. HMPH, I don't believe he's a good person. A young man who suddenly becomes rich is bound to pick up some bad habits. As long as we investigate slowly, we'll definitely find some dirt on him, Richard Gere said with a cold laugh, holding his wine glass. Robert Downey Jr., Kiefer Sutherland, and Dustin Hoffman nodded. Richard was right. They were all men, and they understood men best. How could a man worth hundreds of millions of dollars not have some special fetishes? For example, Richard Gere and Dustin Hoffman liked to pick up women, especially other men's women. When they chatted together, they would often talk about married female celebrities in the industry, saying that it would be very fulfilling to snatch them away from their husbands, like a lion on the savannah. Robert Downey Jr. and Kiefer Sutherland were more into drugs, always keeping multiple drugs at home and even in their car. This was illegal in California. They believed Link was also addicted. The problem is that no one knows Link well, and Link is a master of disguise, very good at hiding his true nature. He's hard to spot, but with investigation, they're sure to find something on him. Hey Michelle, you're here for a drink too? Dustin Hoffman waved towards the aisle of the bar. Michelle Pfeiffer, wearing a black dress and carrying a small handbag, walked in and glanced at the group. You guys are here too, what a coincidence. Director Nichols invited a few of us lead actors here to discuss the script, so I got here first. What are you doing here? We had nothing to do on the weekend, so we came to chat. Director Nichols hasn't arrived yet, so let's sit down and talk. Dustin Hoffman stood up warmly and invited Michelle Pfeiffer to sit down. Michelle Pfeiffer smiled, greeted Richard Gere and the others, and sat down in an empty seat. "Hey Michelle, you look great, are you in love?" Richard Gere smiled and looked Michelle Pfeiffer up and down, teasing her about her relationship with famous television producer David Kelley. "No, I'm just in a really good mood lately." Michelle Pfeiffer touched her cheek, a smile playing on her lips. She was indeed in great shape lately. Her skin was glowing, because she felt an unprecedented sense of fulfillment, both physically and emotionally. Dustin Hoffman, seeing the smile in Michelle's eyes, said sourly, "So many of us were pursuing you, and you chose David Kelley. That guy is so lucky. But I suggest you keep an eye on David. He's not a good man. I've heard a lot of gossip about him at parties. It must be a misunderstanding. I believe David wouldn't betray me," Michelle Pfeiffer said calmly. Dustin Hoffman felt even more bitter. Before he could say anything more, Michelle Pfeiffer changed the subject, asking, "What are you talking about? The new movie?" "No, we're talking about Link." "Link?" Michelle Pfeiffer's heart suddenly pounded. The image of that dark-haired, dark-eyed man involuntarily flashed through her mind, his handsome face, his incredible stamina, his violent actions, and the nights they had spent passionately together. She couldn't help but close her knees, her cheeks and other areas beginning to burn. Chapter 154 Bet. Link's new movie has started filming. I heard it's a blockbuster with a budget of tens of millions. We bet it'll lose money. Michelle, do you want to join? Richard Gere asked with a smile. Michelle Pfeiffer blinked and smiled. My agent said that director Jay Maroney was trying to get you to reconcile with Link. Did it work? HMPH, Hollywood is our territory. Do we need to reconcile with some yellow-skinned kid? He doesn't have that kind of nerve. Exactly. That bastard even said we should apologize to him. Haha, a newbie director like him, does he think he deserves our apologies? Absolutely not. If he wants to reconcile with us, he should come and apologize to us. If we're in a good mood, we might consider forgiving him. His girl is pretty good. Her face and figure are my type. If I can bring him down, I'll definitely steal her from him right in front of him. Richard Gere, Robert Downey Jr., and the others were all furious when they talked about Link. Michelle Pfeiffer frowned. After talking with Link, she suddenly felt that Richard Gere and his group spoke very crudely and were disgusting in their uncultured and self-righteous manner. She maintained her smile. It's true that Link shouldn't have offended you guys, but he's a billionaire now, worth $400 or $500 million. He's also a globally renowned author and director, and owns a thriving film company. It'll be difficult to deal with him. HMPH, Forbes magazine must have overestimated him. Where would he get that much money? At most, $100 million, even if he has a few hundred million. So what? Guess what? His films are box office hits, causing the Big Seven Studios' revenue to fall short of expectations. Now the Big Seven Studios are officially treating him as a rival and preparing to suppress him. His days aren't going to be easy, that's right. When he first became famous, CAA wanted to sign him, but he refused and even went against us. CAA won't let him off the hook. This time, for his new movie auditions, CAA only released a little bit of information, and many star actors withdrew from the auditions, resulting in his movie not finding suitable actors. Compared to CAA, a behemoth with a market value of billions, what are a few $100 million, Robert Downey Jr. said. Dustin Hoffman and others nodded in agreement. Having worked in the entertainment industry, they had seen countless billionaires and even members of the Rothschild and Rockefeller families. They wouldn't take a billionaire without any connections seriously. Alright, let's not talk about Link anymore. Richard Gere waved his hand, smiling at Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle, do you want to bet me that Link's movie will lose money? Michelle Pfeiffer brushed her hair aside. Link's first 3 movies were all huge hits, with a total global box office of nearly $1 billion. That surpasses 99% of film directors in the industry. His movies shouldn't lose money, right? Dustin Hoffman shook his head. Michelle, you overestimate him. He's never made a big-budget film before. After making a few low-budget movies, suddenly making a multi-million-dollar production is too reckless. Yes, many directors in the industry do well with low-budget films, but once they direct a big project, they suffer losses. The probability of Link's movie losing money is extremely high. Also, that guy Link is too confident. A multi-million-dollar project, and he didn't invite any veteran actors or popular stars to support it. How can this kind of movie be a big hit? Just keep hyping it up. I remember he said in a TV interview that he wouldn't use hype to promote his next movie. If there's no hype, who will go to see his movies? That's right. When the Blair Witch Project was released, we didn't know he was the director, which allowed him to take advantage of the situation. This time, with the media watching, if he dares to use such tactics again, it's tantamount to breaking his promise. The media and the public will despise him, making it impossible for him to establish himself in the entertainment industry, Dustin Hoffman said excitedly. So we need to keep a close eye on him and prevent him from taking advantage of the situation again. As long as he stops using hype to promote his films, his movies will be like a crippled arm. Let's see how he makes money then, Richard Gere sneered. Speaking of which, Link is really stupid. Using hype to market his films is his specialty, but just because the media criticized him a few times, he claimed he would abandon his specialty and not use his best method to make money. This guy is really too stupid, haha. We also played a part in this. We arranged for the media to criticize him for using hype to market his trashy films, saying that bad money drives out good. Link felt the pressure and made that promise, haha. This shows that our method is effective. Getting excited, the group raised their glasses in celebration and laughed heartily. Michelle Pfeiffer listened quietly to the group's plan to take down Link, without interrupting. Hearing that several big stars had no good ideas for Link, and even attributed Link's decision to abandon the publicity stunt for his film to them, she found it amusing. She also thought the man who had conquered her was incredibly powerful, not only physically but also professionally. Michelle, want to bet? Richard Gere asked, sizing her up. Sure, I bet that bastard's next movie will definitely be a flop, Michelle Pfeiffer said with a coquettish smile. Richard Gere and the others laughed. Michelle, that won't do. We can't place a bet like that. Okay, then I'll bet Link's next movie will be a box office hit. If I lose, I'll buy you all drinks, Michelle Pfeiffer said, sounding aggrieved. Michelle, how about you buy me drinks alone if you lose? I'll buy you drinks alone if I lose, Richard Gere said with a gentlemanly smile. Haha, Richard, so you're also after Michelle. If Michelle loses, you'll have to compete with Dustin to get a date with her first, Robert Downey Jr. chuckled, winking. I'd love to compete with Richard, I guarantee I'll win, Dustin Hoffman said, patting his chest. Michelle Pfeiffer felt a pang of discomfort overhearing their conversation, barely managing to sit for a moment without the urge to throw her glass in their faces. When director Mike Nichols and actor Jack Nicholson entered, she got up to say goodbye and went to a nearby table to discuss work. Richard Gere, Robert Downey Jr., and the others were old acquaintances of Jack Nicholson, and seeing the two enter, they went over to greet them as well. Soon, the men in the booth were clinking glasses, smoking, drinking, and talking about women, with no time for work. Michelle couldn't stand the smell of smoke in the booth, so she drank a beer and excused herself to leave. After leaving the bar, Michelle Pfeiffer got into her car and took out her phone to call Link in New York. After the call connected, Link's magnetic voice came through the receiver. Michelle, what's up? I missed you, is that okay? Michelle Pfeiffer leaned back in her chair, a smile unconsciously creeping onto her lips. She found talking to Link more fun than talking to her boyfriend. Haha, where do you miss me, in your mouth or in your heart? My whole body misses you, don't seduce me, I'm filming in New York, I don't have time to satisfy you in Los Angeles. Has filming started? How is it going? It's alright, but the weather in New York is more complicated than I expected. It rained as soon as I arrived, and filming only officially started yesterday. That's good. Many people in the industry aren't optimistic about your new movie, thinking it'll definitely lose money. Are you confident? It's okay. No one has ever been optimistic about my movies, but the box office has always been good. I'm confident about this one too. Yes, you've always been great. Michelle Pfeiffer held the phone, her voice becoming soft and sweet. I'm coming to New York next week for an event. I have half a day free. Can I come see you? Sure, just let me know in advance. I'll make time for you. Great. I can't wait to fly to your side. Michelle Pfeiffer kissed the phone a few times before hanging up. Chapter 155 The Film Crew. All teams, get ready. Scene 3, Shot 2, Take 1, Action, Poughkeepsie County, New York. It was a sunny afternoon. On the set of Final Destination, in a villa area, the cast and crew were busy at work. Link sat behind the monitor, carefully watching the footage from the camera. After several days of rain in southern New York, the weather had become hot. Link, wearing a baseball cap, vest, and long-sleeved shirt, had been sitting in a tent for a while and was already sweating. "John, let's go over this shot again. Don't drop too low. Use a bird's-eye view to film Todd's house." This perspective can be understood as Death's perspective. To increase the psychological pressure on the audience, Link walked over to the lead cinematographer, John Thor, gesturing to show him how to shoot, how to design the shot, and how to divide the frame. John Thor had applied for a cinematographer position at Guest C Pictures. Link recognized him quickly after seeing his photo and information. John Thor wasn't famous yet, having only worked as a cinematographer on 2 documentaries, but he was poised to become one of the leading authorities in the field. John Thor's representative works include Braveheart, Legends of the Fall, The Thin Red Line, Almost Famous, Cloud Atlas, and Vanilla Sky, among others, earning him multiple Academy Awards for Best Cinematography and nominations. When Link was directing, he specifically studied Toll's work, and when John Toll applied, he signed him without hesitation. Now, besides the promising cinematographer John Toll, the crew includes Assistant Director Sophia Capella, Assistant Director Paul Thomas Anderson, Sound Engineer Andy Nielsen, Sound Editor Per Hallberg, Prop Master Eric Dawson, and many others, all rising stars in the film industry. With these people assisting him, he can save a lot of time and energy during filming. "Director Link, I understand," John Toll nodded and instructed his assistants to readjust the camera positions. After the camera crew was ready, the Final Destination crew continued filming. Final Destination is a thriller film. The original was released in 2000, with a budget of nearly $20 million, and grossed $186 million worldwide. While its box office revenue didn't reach the heights of Paranormal Activity or The Blair Witch Project, it enjoyed immense popularity with a large global fan base. Its sequels also performed well, grossing over $700 million, making it a film with significant box office potential. This is one reason why Link chose Final Destination as his 4th film. Another reason is that the film's protagonist is a young person, and the plot and character relationships are relatively simple, fitting his age and perspective, making it suitable for a new director to practice with. The first Final Destination tells the story of a class at Abraham High School, where teachers and students prepare for a trip to Paris. Before boarding, high school student Alex Brown has a premonition that the trip won't go smoothly. At the airport, Alex encounters church members distributing leaflets, telling him that death is not the end. While going through security, he sees the flight information board constantly flipping, indicating a flight delay, as if foreshadowing something bad. After boarding, Alex has a nightmare while leaning back in his seat. In his dream, the plane suddenly shook violently after takeoff. Within seconds, the fuselage broke apart, and many people fell out of the plane from the left side. Then, the plane exploded. Alex woke up from the nightmare to find the plane hadn't taken off yet. He quickly went to the seat in front to check the situation and was shocked to find it was exactly as he had dreamed. Alex shouted that the plane would explode and demanded everyone get off. But no one believed him, and he got into a heated argument with his hot-tempered classmate, Carter. Finally, Alex, along with his teacher Valerie Luton, his friend Todd Wagner, his classmate Carter, Carter's girlfriend Jenny, and his tall classmate Bill Sidham, were forced off the plane. The female protagonist, Carlisle, possessed the ability to sense danger. Hearing Alex's shouts, she voluntarily got off the plane. After the 7 of them returned to the waiting area, the plane slowly took off and soon exploded before everyone's eyes, turning into a ball of fire in the night sky. All 127 people on board perished, including 39 students and faculty members from the school. Because of his unusual behavior before the explosion, the male protagonist was investigated and monitored by the FBI. 7 survivors returned home, and as they secretly rejoiced at their escape, death struck. After filming began, Link planned to shoot the individual scenes of the main actors first, primarily indoors, with group scenes filmed later. This approach aimed to save costs and keep budget within expectations. Furthermore, filming the individual scenes would give him the opportunity to mentor the new actors, helping them perform better in group scenes. With prior training, filming would be faster. According to this plan, the first scenes to be shot were those of Todd, the third male lead, played by Joaquin Phoenix. Todd Wagner is 17 years old, a relatively normal teenage boy with blonde hair, freckles, and an average appearance and build. He likes beautiful women but isn't popular with them. He's quite lively and has a close relationship with the male lead. Before the plane exploded, his brother George noticed the male lead's unstable emotional state and asked Todd to go down and take care of him, thus allowing Todd to survive while his brother perished in the crash. After Todd returned home, he looked in the mirror in the bathroom, trimming his nose hairs, when death descended. He was the first member of the main cast to be taken by death. Scene 4, Take 1, Action. Filming began. Joaquin Phoenix walked into the frame, wearing a plaid shirt and barefoot, entering the bathroom. He stood in front of the mirror, and suddenly a cool breeze blew in from the window, causing the curtains to flutter. Todd went to the window and closed it. Cut. Todd, when the wind blows in, turn around slowly. You don't need to make a terrified expression. Todd is an ordinary person, not sensitive enough to perceive death's presence, and won't be startled by a little breeze. During the performance, don't overact, just follow the normal script. I'll remind you where you need to be more dramatic. Link stood to the right of the camera, pointing at Joaquin Phoenix. After filming began, all the actors in the crew called each other by their character names, a rule he established to enhance the actors' immersion in their roles. Director, I understand, Joaquin Phoenix continued acting, while several members of the special effects team enjoyed the cool breeze outside the window. The shot of the wind blowing had been practiced beforehand. The wind speed and timing had been practiced more than 10 times to ensure there wouldn't be any mishaps during filming. Todd stood in front of the mirror, examining his face. A gust of wind blew in, and after a few seconds, Todd reacted, looked back at the window, and went to close it. Cut. Link returned to the director's area to review the footage on the monitor. How was it? Sophia leaned over and asked. She was mainly responsible for coordination on set and sometimes substituted for Link in shooting some exterior scenes, essentially acting as a co-director. Not good enough, Link called Joaquin over. Don't frown when you look in the mirror. Looking in the mirror is about self-appreciation, a more relaxed state of mind. Frowning makes your emotional portrayal seem contradictory, which is unnecessary. Director, this is what I was thinking. Todd's brother just passed away, and I think he should show grief. Joaquin asked. No need. At the memorial service at school earlier, Todd said he overcame his psychological hurdle and invited Alex to drive to New York to watch the Yankees game. Besides, Todd's older brother is very talented and always bullies him. At home, his parents often compare him to his brother, making him seem useless. Todd lived in his brother's shadow, but now that shadow is gone, he won't be too sad. Do you understand? Sophia slammed her hand on the table and said, you weren't focused on studying the character, and you even argued when I was explaining the scene to you. If I were the director, I would have hit you. Joaquin took a step back in fright. On set, Link wouldn't hit or yell at people, but this young lady Sophia would, and she would yell very nastily. Link chuckled. Joaquin, the atmosphere at the beginning of this scene needs to be a bit lighter, so the audience can relax while watching. After the various strange phenomena in the bathroom, the audience's emotions will gradually be drawn in, and their hearts will be on edge. If the beginning is filled with sadness, the audience will be in a bad mood, and the emotional engagement will be less effective. So you need to portray this scene as more relaxed. The more relaxed it is, the more sudden and unpredictable the accident will seem, like fires, car accidents, or plane crashes in our daily lives. Many people don't expect to die before they do. Understood. I'm sure I can do a good job this time. Joaquin smiled and nodded, returning to the set to wait. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Filming. The crew reshot the scene, and this time Joaquin Phoenix performed well, nailing it in one take. See? We need to be a bit stricter with the actors, Sophia said proudly. Link explained, the film has just started shooting, and everyone hasn't fully immersed themselves in their roles yet. It's understandable that things are a bit slow. We directors shouldn't rush things either. Being patient with the actors and helping them get into character will help them perform better and add highlights to the film, which is a good thing. If we're too strict, the director and actors won't have effective communication, and there will be more difficulties in later filming. But isn't that troublesome? This film has many characters, and the plot is hundreds of times more complex than The Witch. Explaining each one individually, line by line, would take a lot of time. It might not be finished in 6 months. It's okay. They're new actors, and we're new directors. Slowing down is like practicing, accumulating experience. Besides, not all actors are like Joaquin Phoenix, with many ideas while acting. Many actors just do what the director says or keep their thoughts to themselves, performing with emotion. I prefer actors like Joaquin Phoenix to both of these situations, Link said slowly. Sophia smiled as she looked at his profile. Do you know what I like most about you? What? I like your personality the most. Gentle, steady, with a calm and balanced mindset, never impatient or agitated. When I'm with you, I feel calm and at ease, as if no difficulty can defeat us. It's a wonderful feeling. Sophia quietly took his hand, her gaze almost melting him. Link chuckled softly, ruffled her hair, and the crew continued filming. In the bathroom, the toilet faucet began to drip. Todd, shaving in front of the mirror, accidentally cut his neck, leaving a bloody mark. Todd then picked up small scissors and inserted them into his nose to trim his nose hairs. The water from the faucet slowly approached him, about to flow to his feet. Danger was drawing ever closer. While trimming his nose hairs, Todd also picked up a radio plug and plugged it into the socket. Water flowed to his feet. This scene was filmed in reverse, meaning the camera was rotated in the opposite direction during filming and then rotated forward during playback. During the screening, the water, after flowing out, would flow back into the faucet, creating a magical effect. The purpose of filming these scenes was to create suspense, making the audience guess how death would kill Todd and whether it would be as they expected. The actors also needed to be relaxed during the performances to create an unexpected atmosphere. However, Joaquin didn't seem to understand the scene, his performance was not smooth, and his movements were stiff. Link had to stop filming, call him out, tell him how to think and film, explain the advantages of this approach, and even personally demonstrate the entire sequence. After watching his performance, Joaquin returned to the camera and filmed again. This time it went smoothly, completing the entire performance in just 2 takes. Cut. That's a wrap. 15-minute break. Next, we'll film the scene where Todd is strangled. Todd, get ready. Props team, check the props. Lighting and makeup, get ready. We'll try to finish filming before midnight, Link shouted through a megaphone. Understood, director. More than 50 cast and crew members responded from all directions on set. Being a director is really tough, Ben Affleck remarked, sitting on the sofa on set, coffee in hand. Why do you say that? Joaquin Phoenix, who was getting his makeup done, glanced at him. Being a director isn't just about making films, you also have to be able to act, direct others, and manage the crew. The bigger the crew, the more people you need to manage. Being this busy every day is hard for most people to handle. Ben Affleck watched Link as he went around chatting with staff in various departments, inquiring about their preparations. He was meticulous about everything, the busiest person on set. Not necessarily. Every director has a different style, and their responsibilities differ. Link is a versatile director, taking on more responsibilities on set, and he's also quite diligent, so he does a lot. However, there are very few directors like him in the industry. Most only talk the talk, leaving the actual work to the crew members. That kind of director isn't good. They don't understand how other roles are done. How can they judge whether someone is doing a good job? If I were to be a director, I'd be like Link, someone who knows everything, can single-handedly support the entire crew, and even direct a whole movie by himself. That's truly amazing. You'd be exhausted doing that, Link, Joaquin Phoenix scoffed. I don't care if I'm exhausted, as long as I can make a good movie, Ben Affleck said nonchalantly. Ben, what brings you here today? Link came over to check on Joaquin Phoenix's makeup, only to find Ben Affleck there as well. Ben Affleck plays Bill Sidham, the 4th male lead in the series. This role was originally intended for Matt LeBlanc. Matt was filming Friends and didn't have time. The production team had to reconsider Ben Affleck. Link was initially skeptical about whether Affleck could pull off the role. Bill Sidham was a tall, simple-minded character with low intelligence and emotional intelligence, an American version of a simpleton. While Ben was somewhat dull, he wasn't stupid. During the 4th round of auditions, Link gave him half a day to try playing a simpleton. Ben Affleck agreed to give it a shot. After leaving Guess the Movies, Ben went to a barbershop and got a silly haircut, shaved off a section of his eyebrows, and grinned foolishly, looking like he might drool at any moment. Standing on the street, some people mistook him for a fool. His performance was quite good. Ben landed the role because of this. He, I came here first to get a feel for filming, to try and get into character quickly, so I don't hold everyone back," Ben Affleck grinned foolishly. Link always felt a sense of incongruity seeing him. The Ben Affleck in his memory was the handsome officer in Pearl Harbor and the super-rich Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Now he's become a complete idiot. It's an eyesore. Bill's character is supposed to be simple and honest, a bit simple-minded, not really stupid. You need to be careful not to overdo it when you're acting, I understand. I have a neighbor like that, and I've been practicing his speech lately. I'm confident I can play this role well," Ben Affleck laughed. Link nodded. After Joaquin finished his makeup, the crew continued filming. Todd was picking up clothes hanging on the fishing line by the bathtub when water from the toilet faucet flowed onto his feet. Todd wasn't wearing shoes, slipped, and fell into the bathtub. The fishing line tightly wrapped around his neck. He struggled, but the bathtub was covered in shower gel, making it slippery, and he couldn't stand up. He struggled to pick up the small scissors on the sink to cut the fishing line, but it was too far away. In the struggle, his face slowly turned red, then bluish-black, his eyes bloodshot, and finally, he was strangled to death by the fishing line. This scene was quite difficult to perform, and it was very strenuous. Joaquin performed it 3 times but still couldn't meet his requirements. Link had to personally demonstrate and instruct Joaquin on how to act. Under his guidance, Joaquin filmed the scene more than 10 times before finally portraying Todd being strangled. By the end, Joaquin was exhausted, and the rest of the crew was also completely worn out. Only Link remained energetic. Ben Affleck realized that to make movies like Link, one needed to start with fitness, otherwise, it would truly be exhausting. Chapter 157 Training. After filming wrapped up around 1 a.m., the crew went home, and Link returned to his hotel to rest. "Link, have you noticed Ben Affleck staring at you? Wherever you go, his eyes follow. Is he secretly in love with you?" In the bathroom, Sophia sat in the bathtub opposite him, splashing water on his chest. "Don't overthink it. He's just imitating my movies." Link leaned back in the tub, a hot towel covering his face, his arms draped over the edge, taking a Mara bath. "Really? I thought even Ben was captivated by you." Sophia smiled slightly, leaning against him and scratching his chin. "I'm not a dollar bill, where would I get such charm?" Link patted her slender waist. "What about Angelina Jolie and Liv Tyler? If they pursued you, would you say yes?" "Provided they pursue me first, they definitely would, I bet." "What are you betting on?" Link lifted her chin and laughed. "How about I bet myself?" Sophia looked at him with a smile. "Deal." Link picked her up and placed her on the cushion next to him. After their bath, the restaurant delivered a late-night snack. The two ate and slept soundly. The next day was another sunny day, and the crew continued filming the remaining scenes in the Poughkeepsie Villa area. After Todd's death, the police found his body. After an on-site examination, they concluded that Todd had committed suicide, feeling guilty because of his brother George's accident. Todd's father agreed with the police's judgment. Only the male lead, Alex, noticed something amiss. Before Todd's death, Alex again noticed a series of ominous signs, including thunder and lightning, an owl flying to his window, and when he threw a magazine at the owl, the magazine was smashed by a fan, and a piece of paper with the name Todd on it fell out. Alex guessed from this omen that something bad was going to happen to Todd. He rushed to Todd's house, but he was too late, just in time to see the police carrying Todd's body out. The female lead, Claire, also possesses the ability to foresee danger. After Alex arrives, Claire also rushes to the scene. Scene 8, Shot 1, Action. This scene depicts Alex arriving at Todd's house. Ryan Phillip, playing the male lead, and Liv Tyler, playing the female lead, will appear in this scene, their first on-screen encounter. Ryan Phillip is 19 years old and played a minor role in the TV series Only One Life last year, currently a newcomer. He's expected to become a top-tier movie star in the future, appearing in films such as I Know What You Did Last Summer, Dangerous X Games, Flags of Our Fathers, and Crash. Ryan has blonde hair and a sunny, handsome appearance. His age is also suitable for playing a high school student, and his outstanding performance during the audition was one of the reasons the production team chose him for the male lead. Liv Tyler, playing the female lead, is a second-generation star. Her father is Steven Tyler, the lead singer of the legendary band Aerosmith. However, she is an illegitimate child and only recognized her father at the age of 11. Liv Tyler was a high school freshman, had never acted in a movie before, and her acting skills were average. However, her appearance was quite suitable for the female lead's character. She was 174 centimeters tall, had a great figure, a slim waist, long legs, and a full bust, and a pretty, sweet face with captivating blue eyes. She also possessed a somewhat mysterious aura. During casting, the casting team compared several actors and found that she, Ryan Phillip, Edward Norton, and others were the most suitable for a group. Link had auditioned both of them. Their acting was average, but they had potential. With some coaching, they wouldn't have difficulty playing the male and female leads well. Stop, Ryan, your performance isn't intense enough. Go run 3 laps around the street before you come back to act, okay, director. Ryan scratched his head and left the set to run laps around the street outside the villa. Liv, let's film your scene first. Do you know how to act this scene? Link asked Liv Tyler, who was standing next to him. Liv Tyler, who later became famous for her role as the elf princess in films like Stealing Beauty and The Lord of the Rings, was still a rather green high school student. When she went out to film, her mother, B.B. Bull, would accompany her to take care of her. I know, we've rehearsed many times beforehand, Director Lin, you can rest assured and film with confidence, Liv Taylor's mother said. Ms. Bull, let Liv speak. She's the lead actress in this film, and I need to know her thoughts. Link waved his hand, looking at Liv Taylor. Liv Taylor glanced at her mother, stepped forward, and said, Director Lin, I know how to act, but I'm not quite sure. Could you give me some pointers? All right. You can try out this scene first, okay? Liv Taylor obediently went to the set and performed Claire's scene. After watching the scene once, Link called Liv Tyler over and said, Claire lost her father at a young age and has a poor relationship with her mother. She's an independent and opinionated girl, and a bit rebellious. You need to act naturally, and ideally, immerse yourself in the character. Think about what Claire is thinking, worry about what Claire worries about. Once you fully understand Claire's thoughts, you'll know how Claire would act in a situation without me having to remind you. I understand, director. I also grew up without a father, and I didn't find out my father wasn't dead until I was 11. I'm an illegitimate child, and I understand Claire's thoughts. I'm confident I can play Claire well, Liv Tyler said. What nonsense are you talking about? Her mother, Ms. Bibbable, playfully slapped him. Alright, let's do it again. Link ignored their family matters and had Liv do it again in front of the camera. The second take still didn't work. Liv Tyler wasn't engaged enough in her performance. She wasn't acting as Claire, but as herself, too focused on her appearance and unable to connect with the story. Link wasn't in a hurry. He instructed the cinematographer to turn off the camera and let Liv Tyler continue performing in front of the camera. If one take wasn't enough, they'd shoot it 10 times. If 10 times wasn't enough, they'd shoot it 100 times. This wasn't deliberately making things difficult for Liv Tyler, but rather for the sake of the entire film. Claire was the female lead, with a significant amount of screen time. If she didn't perform well at the beginning, it would be difficult to improve later, ultimately affecting the quality of the entire film. Being stricter with her at the beginning, scrutinizing every shot, and reshooting repeatedly if it wasn't good enough, even going to the extreme of constantly implying that she was Claire, imposing Claire's character onto her, making her become Claire. To the point where the actor and the character were indistinguishable. As an experienced director, training a newcomer like Liv Tyler, a blank slate, wasn't difficult. While instructing Liv Tyler, Ryan Phillip ran back, panting and drenched in sweat. Alright, actors in position, all crews ready, continue filming. Scene 8, take 1, second take, action. The script supervisor clapped the clapperboard in front of the camera. The crew continued filming. Chapter 158 Live. In front of the villa, police lights flashed, their red and green glows reflecting on the yard wall. Several officers were busy in the yard. The protagonist, Alex, panting, stopped in front of the yard, his hair and t-shirt soaked with sweat. What happened? Where's Todd? The police ignored him. The actor playing an FBI agent stared at him suspiciously. Alex, get out of here right now, the female lead, Claire, whispered from behind a large tree. Just then, police pushed a stretcher out of the villa, carrying a package containing Todd. Todd's parents also came out. What happened? Didn't you see? Todd's father approached angrily. Because of you, Todd committed suicide. He felt too much guilt over George's death and chose to end his life this way. Impossible, Alex glanced at the black package containing Todd's body. Listen to me, he wouldn't commit suicide. He said at school that after you calmed down, we would still be friends. If he was going to commit suicide, why would he ask me out? Mr. Wagner, Todd's father, ignored him and turned to his wife. Mr. Wagner? Alex called out several times, but Todd's father refused to believe him. The police put Todd's body in the police car, closed the door, and drove away. Alex's face was full of disappointment and sorrow. Cut. The extras' performances in the scene were generally fine, but the two lead actors' performances were slightly lacking. Ryan Phillip had some issues with emotional delivery. The performance lacked depth and emotional impact, similar to a singer hitting a high note. Link aimed for a C5, but Ryan only reached C3, falling short in pitch and needing to adjust further. Liv Tyler's performance was barely passable. A more relaxed approach would have been acceptable. However, Link wanted to push her further, to see her potential. He called both actors over, instructing Ryan on how to build emotion and create tension, and on how to make her performance more natural and effective. In addition to these two, Link also brought in Mr. Weston, who played Todd's father, instructing him to portray anger more intensely, putting pressure on Ryan and using this method to drive her performance. Mr. Weston was a professional actor, better than the main actors, making the task relatively easy. The third take began, and this time Ryan and Liv performed quite well, basically meeting his requirements. However, to ensure shot quality, he shook his head, saying it wasn't good enough, and asked them to perform it again. This scene took 2 days to film before it was finally completed. Being a director is really tough. Ben Affleck sat on the steps, watching the busy crew and Link walking around, and sighed. "What are you sighing about now?" Joaquin gave him a helpless look. The crew members only arrived after being notified, but he insisted on joining the crew early, doing nothing but watching Link film, praising Link non-stop every time he was mentioned, like a sycophant. Look at Link, even in this sweltering heat, he's still working non-stop, directing actors, designing shots, overseeing filming, he's working himself to the bone. Other directors are so lazy compared to Link, it's because Link takes on too much work, screenwriting, cinematography, makeup, acting, art direction, he has to manage everything. Actually, he could do none of that. Hey, isn't that Liv? Why is she crying? Haha, interesting, Joaquin Phoenix gestured with his chin towards the front row, where Liv Tyler was sobbing and wiping away tears, crying that Link was too strict and she didn't want to act anymore. Ms. Bebe Bull was comforting her. Liv heard Joaquin laughing at her, turned around and glared at him, wiped her tears with her sleeve, and stormed off with her small bag. Joaquin shrugged and chuckled, see? Being an actor isn't easy. You get yelled at if you don't act well. Link did it for her own good. This is her first film, she's building her foundation. A weak foundation will affect her future development. Link wasted time during filming guiding her, teaching her how to act step by step. This kind of opportunity is extremely rare for a new actor. Even if Liv Tyler might resent Link now, she'll thank him in the future, Ben Affleck said. Joaquin nodded, not refuting his words. Link patiently guided Liv Tyler and Ryan Phillip during filming, naturally hoping they would perform well. If they understood Link's good intentions and followed his guidance, their acting skills would improve rapidly after filming, turning them into professional actors. If the film was a box office success, they could also become stars, established actors with acting skills. This step would save them years or even decades, something many struggling actors dream of. Of course, if they don't understand Link's good intentions and waste the opportunity, they will regret it later. Link is so annoying. No matter how I act, it's always a yang, no good take. He must be targeting me. In the car, Liv Tyler said angrily, her eyes red. You two don't have any conflicts, why would he target you? Ms. Bebe Bull said, driving. Then is he dissatisfied with me? Not at all. Link is not only the director but also the investor. If he was dissatisfied with you, he would have replaced you long ago. Don't forget that he is a billionaire, a famous writer and director. His time is very precious. He won't waste it on just anyone. He is willing to guide you because you are excellent and worth guiding. Think about it, isn't that right? Liv Tyler blinked her wet eyelashes, feeling that it made sense. However, she had been scolded by Link many times on set. He was very strict. No one had ever criticized her like that before. Link, a boy only 3 or 4 years older than her, treated her like that, which made her lose face. Liv felt wronged and said angrily, he's targeting me. I don't want to act in his movies anymore. Why don't you think about it again? No need to think about it. I said I won't act, and that's final. Okay, then I'll call Link now and tell him you're not acting. Let him recast. There were a lot of girls your age who wanted to act in this movie during the last audition. Sarah Michelle Gellar is good, she's very pretty and perfect for the role. Jennifer Aniston, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Cameron Diaz are also good and suitable. Let them act in it and make them big stars through this movie. Ms. Bibi Bull actually stopped the car, took out her phone, and called Link. Mom, what are you doing? Liv Tyler snatched the phone, hung up, and said angrily, we signed a contract, if we don't act, we'll have to pay compensation. Where are we going to get the money to pay him? Fine, I'll just have to make do and finish the play. Are you sure? Bibi Bull chuckled. The call has already been made. Director Link knows we called. Do you want to call him and thank him? Tell him we'll keep working hard. And ask for his guidance. He scolded me more than 10 times today. Do I have to beg him to scold me more? I'm not a masochist, saying that will ease the tension with Link. He won't be so harsh when he gives you pointers in the future. If you want things to be easier, just call him and thank him. Really? Liv Tyler blinked. HMPH, your mom has lived for over 40 years. What kind of men haven't I seen? Link is just a young man 4 years older than you. Dealing with him is a piece of cake, Ms. Bibi Bull said confidently. Liv Tyler hesitated for a moment before making the call. Mainly because Link had been too strict and cold on set, very different from the other guys she'd known before, and she didn't know how to talk to him. Don't dare call? So you're afraid of Link? That's rare. Someone you're afraid of, who's afraid of him? I'll call. Liv Tyler steeled herself and dialed Link's number. Chapter 159 Julie. Are you so strict with Liv Tyler because you're worried about losing the bet to me? Sophia laughed on set. No, this is filming. Everything revolves around making a good movie. I don't care about anything else. Link sat in front of the monitor, reviewing the footage frame by frame. He would cut out some unnecessary shots later, keeping only the useful parts to save time during editing. If unnecessary shots weren't cut during filming, the film stock would be several kilometers long, making editing extremely difficult. But she's only 17. Aren't you worried she'll quit because you're so demanding? It's her responsibility to play this role well. As for quitting, if she can't persevere, quitting sooner is better for the crew. As he spoke, his phone rang. Link glanced at the number. It was Bibi Bull. Was Liv really going to quit? He answered the phone, listened for a few minutes, then hung up and smiled. Liv called to thank me, saying she'd work even harder to play the role well in the future. Looks like this girl is smarter than I expected, not the kind of girl who's all looks and no brains, Sophia said. There can't be only one pretty and smart girl in the world. Link smiled and continued marking the camera. Sophia, Paul Thomas Anderson, and the others, along with the crew, continued filming exterior scenes and transition shots. These shots didn't require the actors to appear on screen, so they weren't too difficult to film. The next morning, Liv Tyler came to the set to film, bringing Link some snacks to thank him in person for his guidance. She also asked him to be stricter in the future, to criticize and guide her if he found her acting wasn't good, without worrying about her feelings. Link encouraged her, expressing his appreciation and support for an actress like her who wanted to improve, and promising to give her more guidance as long as it didn't take up too much time. So in the following performances, he continued to be strict with Liv Tyler. If her acting wasn't good enough, he would make her do it again, 10 times if one wasn't enough, 20 or 50 times if 10 weren't enough, until he was satisfied. Liv Tyler wasn't as resilient as expected. Sometimes, after more than 10 takes, she still hadn't gotten a scene right, and she would cry with tears in her eyes. She would also tremble with fear when he approached. This continued until Angelina Jolie joined the cast. Angelina Jolie was a year older than Liv, the daughter of Oscar-winning actor Jon Voight, a Hollywood star's child, beautiful and with a hot figure, but also rebellious, like a little delinquent. After joining the crew, she seemed to be there not for the movie, but for Link. She brought him coffee and fruit every day, and after filming, she would harass him. Link wasn't interested in this kind of delinquent, so he pretended to be a cool and aloof god, strictly demanding of Angelina Jolie during filming, forcing her to give her best performance. Compared to Liv Tyler, Jolie had better acting talent and was smarter. With just a little guidance, Jolie could produce what he wanted, making her much easier to get into than Liv Tyler. Furthermore, Jolie had a mature mindset and wouldn't cry when criticized. It was also quite difficult to deal with. After Julie joined the crew, every time Liv Tyler's performance was unsatisfactory, Julie would mock her. If Liv cried because she felt wronged, Julie would make sarcastic remarks, calling her her mother's sweet girl and telling her to go back to school and not become an actress. This led to a very strained relationship between the two. Once, during a scene together, Julie said something that made Liv so angry that she threw her script in Julie's face. Then the two started fighting. Two beautiful girls, both around 17 or 18 years old and about 175 centimeters tall, fighting on set was quite a sight. Even Ryan, Joaquin, and Edward, the three weaklings, couldn't separate them. Edward got scratched on the neck by Liv, Ryan got punched in the nose by Julie, and Joaquin was knocked to the ground, flat on his back. Link had to step in himself, grabbing one of them and pulling them aside, making Julie apologize to Liv first because she had verbally attacked her first, and then make Liv apologize because she had hit her first. Both of them were at fault. Julie, who had won the fight, smiled and apologized to Liv after hearing his words, displaying a victorious air. Liv, her eyes red, glared at her angrily, finally reluctantly saying, "I'm sorry, alright, let's just leave it at that. No more fighting like this. We're all colleagues in the same production crew. What kind of behavior is this? Okay, Link, I'll listen to you. I'll do whatever you say." Julie smiled and took Link's arm, speaking intimately. One might mistake her for Link's girlfriend. "Bitch," Liv Tyler muttered under her breath. Julie smiled and gave him the middle finger. Enough, Link was a bit exasperated. Most women in the entertainment industry were two-faced. Some looked beautiful and goddess-like on screen, but in private, they had all sorts of flaws and bad habits, no different from ordinary women, and some were even worse. Liv Tyler appeared quiet and sweet, speaking softly like a well-behaved girl, but inside she was quite rebellious. Angelina Jolie is indeed a bit of a delinquent right now, smoking, drinking, and flirting with handsome men. Both of them are troubled girls, which fits their character settings perfectly. Julie, Liv, I don't care what your conflicts are, you'd better restrain yourselves on set. There are hundreds of people on the set, and it costs hundreds of thousands every day. If you two cause trouble, many people's work will be wasted, and the crew's plans will have to be delayed. Do you think that's a good thing? Link looked at Jolie and Liv Tyler with a cold face. Link, I know I was wrong. Don't worry, I will never talk to her again, and I won't interfere with the crew's work, because I don't want you to be angry, Angelina Jolie said, leaning on Link. Liv Tyler's lips twitched, and she cursed bitch in a voice only she could hear. Liv, Link looked at Liv Tyler. I know, as long as that bitch doesn't mess with me, I won't talk to her either. Liv Tyler turned her face away unhappily, her lips curling down. Alright, everyone go check yourselves for injuries. If you're not hurt, we'll continue filming in half an hour. Link waved his hand, dismissing the two. See? I told you being a director isn't easy, and you didn't believe me. Ben Affleck stared at Link not far away. Being a director isn't just about filming, you also need to be able to direct actors, have boundless energy, work 24 hours straight without getting tired, and most importantly, be strong enough to separate the actors when they fight. As he spoke, Ben Affleck glanced back at the three of them. You guys are really weak. The three of you couldn't even separate two little girls together, and you even got hurt. You're so weak, you definitely can't be directors. Joaquin rubbed his sore butt. Don't talk nonsense here. Why didn't you go and break them up when they were fighting? Yes, you saw them fighting and you stayed far away. That's not very nice. Ryan rubbed his nose. He had just been punched by Julie, and although he didn't bleed, he had shed quite a few tears. Edward Norton covered his neck, his eyes blank, and didn't want to speak. Haha, I'm an actor, not a security guard. What does their fighting have to do with me? It's normal to stay away, okay? Otherwise, what are you doing? Ben Affleck laughed mockingly. Joaquin and his two companions exchanged glances and together tackled him to the ground. Chapter 160 Performance. Wah mom, that bitch Julie is so mean, she's always targeting me. Link's not good either, he always sides with that bitch Julie. In the break room, Liv Tyler complained angrily to Ms. Bibbable. Did Link? He just scolded Julie too. Yes, he scolded Julie less harshly, but he was more serious when he scolded me, Liv Tyler said aggrievedly. Ms. Bibbable shook her head. You're such a silly girl. Silly? How am I silly? That bitch Julie bullied me, shouldn't I fight back? Liv Tyler questioned angrily. No. Who are you? You're the lead actress Claire, and Julie is just a minor character, Jenny. You, the lead actress, being bullied by a minor character on set, and even fighting with her, don't you think that lowers your status? Have you ever seen a lead actress on a set being bullied by a minor character? If you were both kicked out of the set, who would suffer more? Of course, it would be you, my silly daughter. Ms. Beeble tapped her forehead. Liv Tyler found this very reasonable. Then what should I do? Julie has been targeting me ever since she joined the cast, mocking my acting and saying I don't deserve to be the lead. She's so annoying, have you forgotten? Julie auditioned for Claire too, but didn't get the role. She's your loser. What's so great about a loser? Next time she targets you, just tell her you're the lead, and she's just a supporting actress. A minor supporting actress has no right to talk to you. If she doesn't listen, tell Link that Julie is harassing you. You're the lead, personally chosen by Link. He'll definitely favor you and like you more than Julie. Just tell him Julie is interfering with your acting, and leave the rest to Link. He's the director and investor, naturally, he doesn't want anyone causing trouble on set. Hearing BB's words, Liv's blue eyes lit up, and the corners of her mouth turned up. This was a really good idea. The next time Julie mocks her, she'll use this trick on Julie, telling her she's just a minor character, a loser. No matter how well Julie acts, how amazing she is, it will never change the fact that she's just a minor character, while she's the protagonist. Thinking this, Liv couldn't help but laugh. Julie looked at her questioningly. Liv Tyler snorted and proudly raised her chin. Scene 43, Shot 3, Action, click. The clapperboard snapped, and the camera began to move. Baby, come back, don't mess with him, Angelina Jolie's Jenny shouted at Carter as he got out of the car. Edward Norton's Carter ignored her, strode towards the outdoor cafe where Alex and Claire were chatting. Carter, Professor Lawton came out of the cafe. Oh, looks like everyone's here, Carter grinned mischievously. Edward's acting is getting better and better, Sophia said, looking at the monitor. Link smiled, it was true. At the start of filming, Edward Norton always maintained a haughty, refined demeanor, and in those first few days, he received more ings than Liv Tyler. To bring out Edward Norton's true nature, Link used various methods, including criticizing his acting in front of the entire cast and crew, constantly provoking and pushing him. When provoked, Edward Norton would turn red in the face. Once, after being put down too much, Edward Norton broke down and smashed 2 chairs on set. After that incident, Edward Norton gradually got the hang of it and his acting improved significantly. Link specifically designed several walking postures, angles of looking at people, and eye contact techniques for him. Edward is a smart person and learns quickly, even applying his knowledge to other situations. After mastering the postures, he would then develop them further, sometimes going so far as to overshadow the male leads, Ryan Phillip and Joaquin Phoenix. Now, when Edward Norton acts, he no longer needs Link's guidance. Instead, Link has to advise him to tone it down and not steal the spotlight from the other actors. Carter, let it go, Jenny said, pulling Carter aside. Carter ignored her and looked at Ms. Liudmer. When are you moving? In a few weeks, Ms. Liudmer replied. Oh, that's terrible, Carter said, feigning concern. You bastard, Bill, played by Ben Affleck, walked over and yelled at Carter. Carter had deliberately run him over with his car, causing Bill to fall off his bicycle and crush all his belongings. Carter ignored Bill and continued to Ms. Liudmer. The best teacher is moving away, honey, let's go, Jenny urged. Everyone, I have something to tell you, okay? Alex, the protagonist, stepped between Carter and Ms. Liudmer. Carter ignored him and continued to ask Ms. Liudmer, you grew up here, didn't you? Suddenly, he turned to Alex and shouted, now, because of you, she has to leave. Listen to me, this isn't over yet, we're all going to die, Alex yelled back. That's enough, you two, Jenny shouted. Cut, make it more intense, all three of you shout together, louder, Link gave a hint, and the three continued their performance. Of the 3 characters, Carter came from the wealthiest family, was the most handsome, the most arrogant, and had the most volatile temper, giving him the upper hand in arguments. The male lead was more ordinary, speaking without much confidence, but he held the secret of death and the power of words. However, the protagonist of this scene was Jenny, played by Angelina Jolie, and in the end, it was Jenny who got the chance to speak. That's enough, you two, Angelina Jolie shouted, "They're dead, we're alive, let this go, I won't let this crash haunt me for the rest of my life." When Angelina Jolie delivered her lines, to emphasize her words, she patted Edward Norton on the shoulder. Edward Norton's expression changed, and when the camera turned to him, he looked up with a cold expression. "I'm looking ahead, Carter." Jenny walked to the side of the street. "If you're going to waste your life going to bother Alex every time you see him, you might as well just die." Cut. Stunt team, props team, get ready. After the two team members responded that they were ready, Link announced filming again. Jenny backed away as she spoke. Just as she said, "You might as well just die," boom. An out-of-control bus roared past, smashing Jenny into pulp, spraying blood directly onto the faces and bodies of several people. Cut. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to show extreme terror. John, give them a close-up." Chapter 161 Award. While the film crew was shooting in New York, Lee Uzieli called to tell him that Paranormal Activity had won the Best Horror Film Award at the 19th Saturn Awards the previous day. The Saturn Awards, established in 1972 and presented annually by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy and Horror Films, aim to recognize and promote outstanding science fiction and horror films and television shows of the year, as well as groundbreaking and innovative works. The nominations and final results are based on films and filmmakers beloved by moviegoers. Most of the films nominated for the Saturn Awards were influential and sensational in their respective years. Paranormal Activity and Barad were both sensational films last year. Link received 6 nominations, including Best Horror Film, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Actor. This year's biggest winner at the Saturn Awards was Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, which received 8 nominations and ultimately won 4 awards, including Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Actor, and Best Costume Design. Link congratulated Coppola through Sophia. In the morning, the crew continued filming scenes depicting the accidental deaths of other characters. Of the 7 survivors, Todd was the first to die, followed by the 3rd female lead, Terry Janney, then the teacher, Valerie Lyudin, the 4th, Billy Sidham, and the 5th, Carter. After Terry Janney's car accident, Alex, inspired by a television news report, discovered that Todd and Janney died first in the plane explosion in his dream, mirroring the current situation. According to this pattern, death's killings might also follow a predetermined order. There's a specific sequence to death, it doesn't kill randomly. Upon discovering this secret, Alex prepared to disrupt Death's plan to save himself. He told the remaining survivors, but they didn't believe him, leading to Lyudin's accidental death. Carter was originally supposed to die 4th, but after Alex's intervention, Billy Sidham was decapitated by shrapnel from a train, dying prematurely. Claire was supposed to be the 5th, but at the last moment, the male lead appeared and saved her. They initially thought they had successfully disrupted Death's plan and survived. However, during their return trip to Paris, Carter was killed by a falling light sign. The methods of these murders were sophisticated and complex, and Link's high standards for camera work and actors caused slow progress in filming. Link and his crew spent nearly 2 months filming in New York, New Jersey, and Toronto, Canada, before completing these scenes. In early June, Link and his crew returned to Los Angeles to film the opening plane crash and other miscellaneous scenes. June marked the start of the North American summer movie season. This year's summer blockbuster season was packed with films, with Spielberg's monster movie Jurassic Park leading the pack. Released at the end of May, the film grossed $81.71 million in its opening weekend, setting a North American record for opening weekend's box office. It grossed $200 million in 3 weeks, becoming the fastest film to reach $200 million in North America. After 2 weeks in overseas theaters, the film has also surpassed $200 million in international box office. The current total box office is $413 million, with projected grosses exceeding $800 million. The second-ranked film is Indecent Proposal, a romantic comedy starring Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson, and Robert Redford. Released on April 23, it has grossed $106 million in North America and over $200 million worldwide. Third is Cliffhanger, starring Sylvester Stallone, released in mid-May. Affected by Jurassic Park, its current North American box office is only slightly over $72 million, while its production cost was $65 million. Also in third place is The Dead End, starring Robert Downey Jr., released at the end of April. With $16.58 million in North America and $28.09 million worldwide, The Blair Witch Project, released at the end of February, has finished its North American run, grossing $158 million, and currently has $131 million overseas, with several other regions still showing. Its global box office is projected to be around $300 million. Besides the currently showing films, other popular movies released during the summer season include Sleepless in Seattle, Phantom Hero, Sniper, and Mermaid Tale. Jurassic Park is amazing. It's grossed over $400 million worldwide in less than 3 weeks, and the final box office will probably exceed $900 million. Universal Pictures has made a fortune this time, and Spielberg has made a fortune too. The most impressive thing is the CGI technology in this film, realistically recreating the images of several dinosaurs, making them look almost real. Many people will probably use this technology in the future. It seems that we directors can't just make movies, we also need to learn how to use new technologies to make movies, otherwise we'll be eliminated from the film industry in a few years. In a Beverly Hills bar, Quentin Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh, director Robert, and the newly arrived director Richard Linklater were chatting. "Hi, everyone, good afternoon." Linklater arrived late, wearing a baseball cap, a loose shirt, and blue jeans. Among those present, Quentin and the others were old acquaintances. He had met Richard Linklater at the last gathering. He was a friend of Steven Soderbergh and had even made a cameo appearance in Steven's film, Dangerous Love. "Link, why are you so late? We agreed on 5 o'clock, and you're late again," Quentin complained. "It's 4:58 now. I'm not only not late, I'm 2 minutes early," Link said, pointing to his watch. "This is a party, for drinking and chatting. Isn't it better to arrive early? My movie isn't finished yet. How can I have time to come out and have fun?" "Is Pulp Fiction finished?" Pulp Fiction started filming before his movie, taking more than 3 months to complete. "It's 90% complete, just a little bit left. By the way, I still have your scenes. When do you have time to come to the set to film?" Quentin smiled mischievously. "I don't have time right now. My scenes will take another 3 weeks to film, and 2 weeks to edit. I won't have free time until next month. Can I join the crew next month?" "No, the movie is almost finished. Delaying it by even 1 day will waste a lot of money. You have to take 1 or 2 days off. How about you replace me?" "Okay, I can take 1 day off this weekend. I hope you don't have any hiccups while filming." Link smiled and drank and chatted with the others. Due to the recent box office success of Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs on screen have greatly impressed audiences and filmmakers alike, making the film a hot topic in the industry. Some praised the film's high box office, predicting it would break global box office records. Others envied Universal Pictures and director Spielberg for making so much money from the film and related merchandise. Still others marveled at the film's stunning use of CGI technology. CGI, or computer-generated imagery, is a technique that uses computer technology to generate images, creating realistic and believable virtual worlds, and can be used in film, television, animation, games, and other fields. Currently, CGI is still a relatively new computer special effects technology, but it has become popular due to the success of Jurassic Park. Many films are planning to use this technology. Link will also use it in Final Destination to enhance the film's visual appeal, and it will also be a strong selling point during promotion. Chapter 162 Uma. "Link, how's your movie going?" "Everything's going smoothly. I saw in the news that you bullied the younger actors on set, shooting a single scene dozens of times, often filming until the wee hours of the morning, causing the actors to break down from lack of sleep, and earning you the nickname Set Tyrant," Quentin joked. "Rumors. I'm making a horror movie. Filming at night is normal, and breaking down from fright is normal too. The news said you were harassed by local gangs while filming in New York. Is that true?" Robert Rodriguez asked curiously. "They're not exactly gangsters. You know Puff Daddy and Jay-Z, right? That time I went to New York to buy a script from you, I got into a fight with them on the plane, and they held a grudge ever since. This time I'm in New York filming, and they sent people to harass the set, causing some damage to the crew, but the crew had insurance, so the losses weren't too big," Quentin said. "Puff Daddy is a gangster. He used to be a gang member, he sold drugs. In the 80s, New York cracked down on gangs, so he switched to being a rapper. But he still has quite a few gang members under him. Be careful when you go to New York. Quentin had lived in New York for 7 years and knew Puff Daddy and his gang better than he did. I will. Link raised his glass and clinked it with Quentin's. He was now a billionaire, a celebrity in the entertainment industry, with money and connections. Even if Puff Daddy was very powerful in New York, he couldn't do anything to him. But always being wary of others wasn't a good idea. During filming in New York, he met several law enforcement and political figures for the sake of the plot. He planned to use the American government to teach these guys with criminal records a lesson. Richard, how's your movie going? Link asked, looking at Robert Rodriguez and Richard Linklater. My movie is still in pre-production, scheduled to start filming next month, Robert replied with a smile. Good, best of luck. My movie is finished too, currently in post-production, Richard said. Link said, have you found a distributor yet? If not, you could consider Guessing Pictures. Guessing Pictures has merged its distribution channels with Triangle Entertainment and Good Machine Pictures, giving them distribution capabilities exceeding all independent film companies. Good. I've been worried about film distribution lately. They just suggested I collaborate with you, and now that you've said it, I'll go to Guessing Pictures to find you after the movie is finished, Richard Linklater laughed. Great. Link and Richard clinked glasses of beer. Richard Linklater, a Texas native and a true redneck, is 33 years old. After graduating from high school, he worked for 2.5 years in the Gulf of Mexico oil fields. Later, driven by his passion for film, he came to Los Angeles with $18,000 to make movies. He currently has 2 films, Urban Wanderer and Studying is Useless, both relatively unknown low-budget films. However, he writes, directs, stars in, and finances all his films himself. Like the 4 people present, he is a multi-talented director who rose to prominence through hardship. This is also why the group came together. Director Richard is not well known now, but his future looks promising. His representative works include Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight, and Boyhood, among others. And he has received multiple Oscar nominations for Best Director and Best Screenplay. His films are highly artistic, with a delicate style, like a cinematic poet. This contrasts sharply with his full beard and robust physique. Look, a beauty's here, Robert nudged Link's shoulder. Link looked up and saw Uma Thurman, the female lead of Pulp Fiction. She was the same woman Quentin had mentioned introducing him to on the phone. However, during the filming of Pulp Fiction, tabloids ran rumors about Quentin and Uma Thurman, which both vehemently denied. The reason? Uma Thurman was married. Her current husband was Gary Oldman, the male lead of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Hi, Uma, long time no see. You're still as charming as ever, Link greeted her warmly. Link, you're charming too. Renee and I often talk about you on set. Renee says you're the best man in the world, she's practically smitten with you, Uma Thurman laughed. Renee Zellweger, recommended by Link, played Butch's girlfriend in Pulp Fiction. Her role wasn't large, but a good performance would be memorable. Uma, do you guys often talk about Link on set? Quentin frowned, displeased. Just chatting. Is there a problem? Stop talking about it, focus on filming, Quentin scoffed. You guys should be talking about Quentin, Robert teased. Link glanced at Quentin and smiled. Uma, when do you have time? I'll treat you to coffee. Hey Link, what are you trying to do? With so many rumored girlfriends, why are you bothering Uma? Isn't that a bit much? Quentin stood up and pulled Uma to sit down beside him, telling her to stay away from Link. It's just coffee, why are you so nervous? Who's nervous? Quentin smirked, telling Uma Thurman that Link was a playboy with 5, no, more than 10 girlfriends. He was incredibly promiscuous, and women should be careful around him. Uma Thurman said that a man with many admirers is charming, and Link having more than 10 girlfriends meant he was extremely charming, and there must be something about him that women liked. Quentin's face darkened. Link smiled and continued drinking and chatting. After the brief gathering, Link returned to the film set to continue shooting. Currently, Final Destination is 80% complete, with the remaining scenes mainly including the opening and ending, as well as many indoor scenes in the middle. The film opens with a class from Abraham High School, led by 2 teachers, traveling to Paris, France. After boarding the plane, the protagonist, Alex, experiences an unexpected situation, shouting that the plane is about to explode, and several people are subsequently kicked off the plane. This scene was filmed in 2 parts. The exterior scenes were shot at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York, for which Link paid $1.5 million to buy a retired Boeing 747 and blow it up in the sky outside the airport. The interior scenes mainly consist of the students entering the cabin, Alex having a dream, and the plane experiencing an unexpected situation during flight. This part of the film was shot at Universal Studios. Universal Studios is Hollywood's largest film studio, featuring modern cities, ancient buildings, a magical castle, an underwater world, and more. There are suitable locations for filming air disaster movies, films and TV series such as Nameless Heroes, After the Air Disaster, and Air Crash Investigation have all been filmed here. Act 2, Scene 1, Shot 3, Action. After the script supervisor's call to action, the cast and crew began their work, each performing their assigned tasks. Link sat in the director's chair, holding the script, quietly watching the monitor. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Acceleration. The protagonist, Alex, along with Todd, Todd's brother George, and others, entered the cabin. Passing the rear cabin, they heard a baby crying. Matt Damon, playing George, patted Ryan Phillip on the shoulder. That's good, the younger the better. If this plane crashes, God is too cruel. Upon reaching the front cabin, a patient on a ventilator gasped for breath and greeted them, looking like he was on the verge of death. This character was played by Link, to increase their involvement. God is really cruel, George complained. Cut, next take, Sophia shouted. It's easy to film, why do you all say Link is cruel during filming, demanding repeated takes, sometimes dozens of times for a single scene, Matt Damon asked, leaning back in his seat. Joaquin Phoenix said, that's because we acted better, he couldn't find any problems. In the first few weeks of filming, we were almost driven crazy by Link. You can ask Ryan and Edward if you don't believe me, Ryan Phillip shrugged. In the past, I would wake up scared if I dreamed about monsters, but now I often dream that Link is yelling no, do it again, in my dreams, and I keep performing it over and over again. I can't wake up even if I want to. It's scarier than dreaming about monsters, ha ha ha. Everyone couldn't help but laugh out loud, but they were worried that Link would hear them, so everyone except Matt Damon lowered their voices. Matt Damon glanced at them speechlessly. Aren't you guys exaggerating? I've never seen Link this strict when I worked with him before, Ben Affleck said. When we were filming The Witch, Link was more concerned with the realism and didn't have high demands on acting skills. We could act however we wanted. But on the death set, Link was extremely demanding of everyone. Liv was criticized to the point of breaking down in tears several times. Shut up, Liv Tyler turned and glared at him, her cheeks flushed. Angelina Jolie smiled, her red lips curling up. Is Link really that scary? He seems very gentle and gentlemanly. Jennifer Aniston, who played the beautiful classmate Krista, laughed. He's fine when he's not filming, but once filming starts, he always has a cold face, expressionless, very aloof. Talking to him is incredibly stressful, Ryan Phillip said. That's true, look at Edward. Joaquin Phoenix put his arm around Edward Norton, who plays Carter. He used to be very gentle, he'd blush when talking to girls, but now he's incredibly short-tempered. He'll explode if you provoke him even slightly. I'm not. My character is short-tempered, and I could only try to act that way during filming. I'm not short-tempered at all. Fuck, what are you doing? As he spoke, Joaquin slapped his butt hard. Edward Norton's face contorted, and he shoved Joaquin away, looking very annoyed. Haha, see, did I say that? Joaquin laughed, slumped back in his seat. Edward Norton snapped out of his daze and walked away awkwardly. Link is strict with us, but everyone's acting has improved a lot, hasn't it? Angelina Jolie said with a smile, arms crossed. That's true, Link is very good at directing actors, Ryan Phillip said. All groups, get ready, actors, return to your original positions, quickly. Hearing the crew's shouts, the actors, not wanting to offend Link, quickly returned to their positions. Scene 1, Shot 4, Action. This scene depicts two beautiful female classmates wanting to switch seats with Todd, but Todd refuses. The two then approach the male lead, Alex, in the back row to switch seats. Hi, Todd. Jennifer Aniston and Naomi Watts, playing the two beautiful female classmates, greet Todd. They are wearing fitted t-shirts, revealing their fuller breasts and slender waists, a glimpse of their fair skin. One is blonde, the other brunette, but each possesses a unique beauty. "Hi, how are you? This is my seat." Joaquin Phoenix smiles at the two beauties. His character is a guy who is unpopular with girls and doesn't know how to interact with them. "Could you switch seats with Krista? We'd like to sit together," Naomi Watts, playing Black, asks. "Oh, I'd love to, but I have a bladder problem, a urinary tract infection. I always feel like I need to pee," Todd stammered. The two women stood up with disgusted looks and went to the back to switch seats with Alex. Alex agreed. "Idiot," Todd complained, his face full of annoyance, as Alex approached. "Do you really think we have the chance to pick them up?" Alex said, sitting down. "It's because of you that I had to sit here and watch that stupid Pulp Fiction," Todd cursed. In the director's area, Link watched the two actors' performances on the screen and nodded. After more than 2 months of coaching, the lead actors were fully in character, their delivery of lines was excellent, and their teamwork was seamless. Many shots only needed to be filmed in one take. This was also why he was so strict with the actors at the beginning of filming. Everything is difficult at the beginning. If the problems in the crew are solved early on, there will be fewer problems later, filming will be smoother, and the speed of filming will increase as filming progresses. Cut. Next, after the male lead sat down, he noticed a problem with the small table in front of him. He tried to find a flight attendant to resolve the issue, but she ignored him. The cabin door closed. The plane began taxiing on the runway. After takeoff, the airport began to shake, and the lights flickered. During the filming of this scene, the actors sat inside a model of the aircraft cabin. The shaking and lighting were entirely controlled by the special effects artists, including the amplitude of the shaking and the frequency of the vibrations, making it almost identical to a real aircraft cabin. The actors didn't have many lines in this scene, their performances mainly relied on their facial expressions and body language. For example, when the plane experienced abnormal vibrations, some actors showed fear, some closed their eyes in fright, some gasped for breath, and some were nonchalant. This kind of scene is both simple and complex. If all the actors' performances were satisfactory, it could be filmed in a few shots. If any individual actor's performance was not up to par, they needed to be corrected one by one to prevent any obvious flaws. Cut. Link called over the production assistant, pointed out the issues with the people on camera, and then instructed the assistant to communicate with the actors. He didn't need to interact directly with the extras. After the assistant spoke with the actors, the crew continued filming. Each take was reviewed. If there were problems, it was reshot, otherwise, it was considered good, and the next take began. After takeoff, the cabin experienced severe turbulence, which subsided after a short while. Just as everyone breathed a sigh of relief, the plane's vibrations intensified, swaying violently from side to side like a roller coaster, causing many passengers to scream. The swaying intensified, causing luggage and respirators to fall from the plane. The left cabin door caught fire and exploded, and people fell through the opening. Chaos erupted in the cabin, with many people shouting and screaming. This scene was the first climax of the film and was extremely important. Neither the special effects nor the actors' performances could be taken lightly. Link meticulously oversaw every detail, filming for 3 consecutive days to complete the scene. Cut. 1-hour break. Filming resumes this afternoon. At lunchtime, the crew rested. Chapter 164 Filming wrapped. Are you too tired? You seem to have lost some weight. In the director's area, Link was slumped over the table eating the lunch Monica had brought him. The crew provided lunch boxes, so there was no need for food deliveries. But after he returned to Los Angeles to film, Monica frequently came to the set to bring him meals, always Italian food she had personally cooked. Today's lunch included fragrant pan-fried steak, white bean soup, 2 steaming hot Florentine chicken pizzas, and a small portion of seafood stew. Link ate quite well. Lost weight? I haven't lost any muscle. What do you want to eat tonight? I'll make it for you. Monica Bellucci rested her chin on her right hand, blinking her long eyelashes as she watched him eat. Anything, but I'd rather eat you. Okay, you can have me. Monica smiled, extending her fair arm. Link kissed her. Monica was white, but her beauty seemed to last a long time. She still had charm in her 50s and 60s. Now, she was in the most beautiful stage of her life, and in the film industry, few could match her looks and figure. Furthermore, she has a good personality. Since last year, tabloids have been full of gossip about him, claiming he's been involved with actresses like Sofia Coppola, Jennifer Connelly, and Brooke Shields. Monica didn't throw a tantrum after seeing these rumors, which pleased him. After seeing Monica off, Link continued working on set. At that moment, Liu Xiaoli arrived with food, asking if he had eaten, saying she had specially stewed an old hen to nourish him. Seeing Liu Xiaoli bring in food, Link couldn't bear to refuse her kindness, so he stopped working and ate a can of Chinese-style stewed chicken with yam and lotus seeds. Opening the lid and taking a sip, the steaming chicken soup smelled wonderful. "Look at that," Joaquin Phoenix nudged Ben Affleck's arm. "Being a jerk isn't easy. Not only do you need to be rich, handsome, and talented, but you also need a good physique, and most importantly, you need to have a big appetite, otherwise you'll choke to death." Link is really amazing. Not only is he good at acting, but he's also incredibly good at picking up girls. "I need to learn from him," Ben Affleck said, shoveling food into his lunchbox. "You want to be a scumbag too? Wrong. This isn't being a scumbag. It's just that Link is too outstanding and too kind. Many women pursue him, and he can't bear to hurt them, so he accepts them all. If he were a scumbag, he would try to hide the existence of other women and pretend to be a good man instead of letting everyone know he's a womanizer. But did he do that? No, because he's kind. He deliberately acted like a scumbag to discourage the girls who admired him, but unfortunately, they didn't. They still liked Link and were willing to follow him. In this situation, no one is a victim, so Link isn't a scumbag, huh? Can you put it that way?" Joaquin scratched his head, speechless at Ben's explanation. What was even more speechless was that he found Ben's explanation quite reasonable. Link didn't seem to be a scumbag after all. "Look there." Another one walked right into the trap. They knew Link had a girlfriend, yet they still got close to him. "Can you blame Link for being a scumbag?" Ben Affleck pointed with his chin towards the director's area. A blonde girl with a lunchbox sat down opposite Link. Joaquin Phoenix's face darkened when he saw the girl. "Bullshit. Doesn't this woman have a brain? She knows Link is a womanizer. Why is she still clinging to him? Aren't there any other good men in Hollywood? Don't be too envious. Work hard, and when you become a big star, many girls will come to you." Ben patted him on the shoulder and walked away. Joaquin stared at Jennifer Aniston across from Link, feeling hurt. Jennifer was his type. When he first saw her on set, he was instantly smitten and had even planned to ask her out. But Jennifer had taken the initiative to cling to Link and smiled so sweetly at him. It was truly bullshit. After lunch, the crew continued filming. For some reason, Joaquin Phoenix wasn't in the zone during filming that afternoon. A simple scene took 5 takes to get right, so Link had to film other scenes first to give him some time to adjust. Cut. That's a wrap. All groups, get ready. Next take. The male lead woke up from his dream and rushed to the front of the room to check, only to find that the small table in front of him was broken, just like in his dream. "Sir, is there a problem?" a flight attendant asked. "Browning, what's wrong with you?" Carter called Alex by his last name impatiently. "Alex, what's wrong?" a male teacher asked. "Listen to me, this damn plane is going to explode," Alex shouted, standing on his chair. "Cut, Alex, louder," Link shouted. "This damn plane is going to explode," Alex screamed hysterically at the top of his lungs, the veins in his neck bulging. "More loud," Link shouted. "This damn plane is going to explode, okay? Continue." "Shut up, Browning, or I'll beat you up," Carter stood up and cursed. "This isn't funny at all," said Angelina Jolie, who played the third female lead. "This is no joke, I'm not kidding," Alex said, sweating profusely. "Alex, calm down," Todd advised. "Alex, sit down." Carter unbuckled his seatbelt, got up, and punched Alex. "Cut, Carter, be decisive. You're a star at school. Alex's disobedience is a sign of disrespect. He doesn't respect you, you have to teach him a lesson," Link shouted. "I know, Director." Carter angrily got up and punched Alex in the middle of the crowd. Alex retaliated, kicking Carter. People around them quickly pulled the two back. The cabin became chaotic and noisy. Flight attendants pulled some people apart and ordered them off the plane. Cut. That's a wrap. In late June, filming for Final Destination, which had lasted for more than 2 months, officially wrapped up. While filming Final Destination, Link also took some time to play a policeman on the set of Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino, wanting to prank him, naturally wouldn't give him a normal policeman role. He played a deranged cop who rapes a black gang leader, Massa, in a basement. He's ultimately shot dead by Bruce Willis, who plays Butch, a boxer. The character's personality is very different from his own, making it difficult to portray well. However, to keep his promise to Quentin Tarantino, he put aside his prejudices and discomfort and worked hard to give the role a good performance. After filming, Tarantino joked that he was perfect for playing a psychopath and would cast him again for similar roles in the future. After filming, Link and Monica flew to Hawaii for a vacation. Enjoying the Hawaiian sun for a while and completely relaxing, he returned to the company to begin editing Final Destination. Chapter 165 Overnight Stay. Final Destination was filmed with great care, resulting in a total film length of 6,225 meters. After rough cut, over 1,600 meters remained. To increase his involvement, Link decided to edit all the shots himself. The second rough cut took 12 days, sometimes working until midnight. He spent all his time in the studio editing, except for eating and sleeping. After the rough cut was completed, he called in other editors and production assistants to find continuity errors. The third fine cut took 3 days. The initial editing of Final Destination was complete. Next came post-production, including digital processing, sound effects, audio processing, visual effects rendering, and the score and theme song. Several parts of the film required computer-generated effects, including the plane explosion and the shadow of death. Since CGI technology was not yet mature, this was more complicated and would likely take several more weeks. The production department estimated that post-production would take 4 to 5 weeks. Finally finished, I can finally rest. In his office, Link stretched comfortably, the sound of his body clicking away. You really need to rest. Look at you now, what's the difference between you and a homeless person on the street? Liu Xiaoli teased, pointing to his long, disheveled hair and messy clothes. Really? What homeless person would have such a beautiful assistant like you? Link was about to hug Liu Xiaoli to reward her for her fatigue these past few days, but he pulled back halfway. What's wrong? Suddenly had a change of heart and decided not to be a hooligan anymore. Liu Xiaoli's eyes held a hint of disappointment. No, I haven't showered today, I smell, and I didn't want to bother you, as if anyone would dislike you. Liu Xiaoli snuggled into his arms, blushing as she hugged his waist. Looking at her fair and pretty face, the shy and charming look in her eyes, and the gentleness and intellect emanating from her bones, Link couldn't help but lower his head and kiss her lips, holding the woman tightly in his arms. That night, Link stayed overnight at Rex's apartment. The moon was beautiful that night. The moon goddess change was indeed naturally alluring. She was neither fat nor thin, standing at 1.71 meters tall and weighing 58 kilograms, lighter than Monica and Jennifer, yet more easily captivated by them. She was rather traditional, more reserved than Western women, and even after having children, she remained reserved. Sleeping with her felt like doing something immoral, a little sinful, yet also somewhat thrilling. Link, you should go to work, before dawn. Liu Xiaoli nudged his shoulder. Work? Link opened his eyes, glanced at his watch. It was only a little past 5 in the morning. Why go to work at this hour? Why don't you go to the company first? I haven't told Kyankian about our relationship. It wouldn't be good for her to see you at home in the morning. Don't worry, Kyankian calls me godfather. She already accepts our relationship in her heart. It'll be fine if she sees me. I'm still a little worried. Kyankian is 5 years old now, starting to understand things. This kind of relationship could affect her mental health. How about I talk to her first, and next time you come to stay overnight, I promise I won't let you leave early. Liu Xiaoli shook his arm. Okay, Link didn't want to put Liu Xiaoli in a difficult position, nor did he want to affect Kyankian's growth. He yawned and got dressed. Link, am I being too much trouble? Liu Xiaoli hugged his shoulders, her body pressed against his back, her voice filled with guilt. Link lifted her chin and kissed her red lips. Never. You are my woman, and the closest person to me in this world. Sister Xiaoli, let me take care of you and Kyankian. From now on, the three of us are family. Liu Xiaoli looked up into his eyes, biting her lower lip and nodding. This nod took another half hour. Link tiptoed out of the apartment a little after 6 o'clock to avoid waking little Kyankian. After returning to the company, Link didn't rest. He went to the film production studio and actively participated in the post-production of Final Destination. He tried to participate in every aspect of the production, both to learn from experience and to increase his involvement. At the same time, he could also use his experience to provide suggestions to the post-production team, such as the selection of several background music tracks. The original film's soundtrack used several songs by country music legend John Denver, but since Denver is still alive and didn't die in the plane crash, those couldn't be used. Link suggested using songs by Buddy Holly, a famous contemporary American rock star and one of the earliest teen idols of rock music, who died in a plane crash in 1958 at the age of 22. His representative works, such as That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, and Oh, Boy, sound quite good. However, the film's composer, James Horner, suggested using a short segment of John Denver's songs as background music after watching the film, as his songs would be more suitable. Link didn't object. James Horner is 40 years old this year and has been composing scores for many Hollywood films since the early 1980s. He is one of the most accomplished composers in Hollywood today, with representative works including the upcoming Braveheart, Titanic, and Avatar. Link just remembered that this guy also seemed to have died in a plane crash. Hopefully, after watching Final Destination, he developed a fear of flying and flew less in the future, perhaps saving him from tragedy. After filming wrapped on Final Destination, numerous media outlets reported on the event, covering not only the announcement of Link's third film but also some gossip. These included allegations that Link bullied younger actors on set, leading one to seek counseling after filming. There were also rumors of Link's affairs with Sophia Colin and Angelina Jolie, suggesting he was a womanizer on set, treating the film set like a dating arena, and implying he wasn't a professional director and his new film might be bad. Among these news reports, one particularly noteworthy piece was Link's statement during a TNT interview last year while promoting Paranormal Activity. He wouldn't use hype to promote his next film. Some media outlets had previously claimed that his first 3 films relied entirely on hype for success. Now, with Link's promise not to use hype, many are eagerly anticipating whether this film will continue his box office success. After seeing the news, Link contacted John Gordon, who is in charge of film publicity, and asked the PR department to arrange some articles to promote the news. All the articles were divided into 2 categories, one arguing that his film would be a complete flop without hype and marketing, and the other believing that since Link's first 2 films were box office hits, the third should be similar and wouldn't be a loss. Now that the media was proactively reporting on this, guess how much money the film company would save on publicity? As for whether this was against the rules, of course not. The news started with the media, and he was just using it as an opportunity to ride the wave and generate pre-release buzz for the film. It wasn't really hype. Chapter 166 Ambition. Boss, there are a lot of rumors about you in the media. Should we issue a denial? John Gordon asked as he left. No need. I'll leave those to the agency. Your job is to promote our films and let more people know about them. Don't worry about anything else. Link waved his hand. Besides Final Destination, he also had 2 other films coming up, The Wedding Banquet and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. The Wedding Banquet was a project brought in by Good Machine Pictures. With a production cost of $1 million, filming began last year and was directed by Ang Lee. It won the Golden Bear for Best Film at the Berlin International Film Festival earlier this year, Best Feature Film at the 30th Golden Horse Awards, and Best Film at the Seattle International Film Festival in June. The Wedding Banquet is currently scheduled for release early next month. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective began filming in March and wrapped in May. It is currently in post-production. This film is a collaboration between Guess Guess Pictures and Columbia Pictures, with Guess Guess Pictures taking the lead in production. Link had helped revise the script for Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, handled investment and casting, and some production work. He wanted to see if he could get box office bonuses and a physical advantage without directing. After John Gordon left, he called James Shamus, the company's vice president of production and former executive producer at Good Machine Pictures. After Guessing Pictures merged with Good Machine, the production department was headed by Daniel DeVito, James Shamus, and another Good Machine producer, Ted Hooper. This year, Daniel DeVito was responsible for some production work on Final Destination and Pulp Fiction. James Shamus was responsible for producing Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Ted Hooper was responsible for the Joy Luck Club, as well as the former Good Machine Pictures film The Wedding Banquet. James Shamus responded on the phone that Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was expected to be completed next week, and the company was conducting market research to determine the most suitable release date. Link agreed, planning to check on the filming progress next week once Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was finished, hoping to see if there was a chance of winning an award. After hanging up, Liu Xiaoli brought over a cup of coffee and placed it on his desk. Link looked at her rosy cheeks. Her complexion was noticeably better than before, and her figure was more voluptuous. Wearing a women's blouse and straight skirt, flesh-colored stockings and high heels, she exuded a mature woman's charm. "Don't hit me," Liu Xiaoli pointed at him reproachfully. "Don't get too close to me at the company. We need to separate personal relationships from work, otherwise it'll be difficult for me to work, and it'll be bad for other colleagues to gossip, okay?" Link smiled gently, not forcing her. "Sister Xiaoli, you've been with the company for over a year, practically a founding member. Continuing as an assistant isn't good for your development. You now know a lot about the film industry and the company. How about considering other positions? Finance, administration, anything is fine. If you don't like those, you could be the head of public relations, mainly dealing with the media." "Public relations? I can try being a regular employee in the public relations department, but I'm worried I won't do a good job as the head." "That's okay. Public relations work isn't much, and it overlaps a lot with my work and Michael Leeson's work. We can discuss public relations issues together, so you don't need to feel too much pressure. It's okay if you make mistakes, I'll support you. Don't worry about anything," Link said. Liu Xiaoli rolled her eyes at him. "It's okay if I make mistakes. This is a company, not a test for sissy. Making mistakes here will cause huge losses to the company. I want to do my best and become an excellent public relations professional. It's good that you have this idea. I support you," Link said, putting his arm around her shoulder and smiling. Liu Xiaoli leaned on his shoulder and said affectionately, "I told Kyankian we're dating, and she asked what dating meant. I said it meant being boyfriend and girlfriend. Kyankian doesn't understand what boyfriend and girlfriend means, and she asked, 'Aren't you my godfather? How come you're my friend now?' Lin K said, 'Take it slow. Kyankian will understand when she's older, then can you visit Kyankian more often and play with her? If you two are closer, she'll be more likely to accept you.'" Liu Xiaoli looked up at him, her eyes filled with expectation. "Of course. After we finish filming, I'll take her out every day, not every day, just every week." Liu Xiaoli smiled slightly. "And Chen Chong, she's been coming to me a lot lately, complaining that she can't get roles in Hollywood and has no source of income. She hopes we can help her. It's driving me crazy. Why doesn't she go back to China? She's a 100 Flowers Award winner. She'd have more opportunities in China than in Hollywood. She doesn't want to. She says the Chinese film market is too small, and she only gets a few thousand yuan a month for a movie, which is only a few $100 in US dollars. It's not even as good as being an extra in Hollywood." Liu Xiaoli laughed. Lin K smiled. "That's indeed the situation in the Chinese film industry right now. Even in Hong Kong and Taiwan, where the highest salaries are paid, top actors only earn a few million yuan, which isn't much in US dollars. That's why so many Chinese actors are vying to try their luck in Hollywood. It's just that Guessing Pictures doesn't currently have any suitable roles for Chinese actors like Chen Chong in its film projects, so they can't help her even if they wanted to. I also know about the domestic film industry. The domestic film market has developed rapidly in recent years, with total box office revenue reaching $450 million last year, a year-on-year increase of 25%. It will only get better in the future, and actors will earn more and more money. If there's an opportunity, we'll also enter the mainland film industry. If she's willing to return to China to develop her career, we can collaborate in the future." "You want to invest in Chinese language films?" "Yes. I'm also Chinese. If there's an opportunity, I also want to support Chinese language films, help them develop, and let them reach the world, so that people all over the world can understand our Chinese culture." "So you have such ambitions. That sounds amazing. I support you." Liu Xiaoli hugged him tightly. What Lin K said wasn't false. In the 1990s, the Chinese film market was developing slowly but had great potential. After China joined the WTO in 2001, international films began to enter the domestic market in large quantities. The domestic film industry also developed rapidly. And in 2 or 3 decades, the annual box office revenue of domestic films was not much worse than that of the United States. The domestic film industry is currently a blue ocean. Given the opportunity, establishing a film company in China to invest in and produce films and television series would be highly desirable, especially considering his current reputation and influence. domestic filmmakers would be eager to collaborate with him. Furthermore, with box office subsidies, he could help Chinese films achieve impressive international box office results, further stimulating the development of Chinese-language cinema. Who will be the future national director of the China Film Festival is still uncertain. Chapter 167 Test Screening. On Friday, post-production on Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was completed, and a small-scale internal screening was held at the Guessing Game Studios Theater. Attendees primarily included representatives from Guessing Game and Columbia Pictures marketing departments, as well as key cast and crew members. The film was decent, quite funny. However, the scenes were too boisterous, and Jim Carrey's performance was overly exaggerated, not to Link's taste. Nevertheless, other attendees gave the film positive reviews, with 16 people giving it a score of 80 or higher, 8 scoring between 60 and 80, and only 4 scoring below 60. Based on these ratings, the film is considered above average, with a box office potential exceeding $60 million, making it a potential blockbuster. Columbia Pictures' distribution team was very satisfied with the film and planned to use a B-movie promotional package, with a total cost of no less than $8 million. Link didn't intend to interfere with the promotion of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. He delegated the task to Joe Fermi, head of distribution at Columbia Pictures, who would lead the negotiations regarding the film's promotion and distribution. After the test screening of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, the system gave it a quality score of 82.43%, with Link's involvement at 8%, including script revisions, investment, and casting. The box office subsidy was only 1.03 times, meaning it would only be a few million more than the original box office. Director experience bonus was 0, and director stamina bonus was 1%. The film quality increase was only 0.5%. This illustrates that films directed by others have extremely limited impact on his improvement. To become stronger, he needs to make his own films. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective is expected to be released in September after completion. Around the same time, Guess C Pictures has 2 other films releasing. The first is Ang Lee's The Wedding Banquet, produced by Good Machine Pictures and now distributed by Guess C Pictures. It is scheduled for release in the US on August 4th and is currently in the promotional phase. The second is Richard Linklater's Dazed and Reckless, distributed by Guess C Pictures, and expected to be released in October. While The Wedding Banquet was beginning its pre-release promotion, Final Destination completed post-production. Link hosted an internal screening at the Guessing Game Studios, inviting company management, the film's creators, and several media friends. After the screening of Final Destination, the audience erupted in applause lasting over 5 minutes. Joaquin Phoenix, Ryan Phillip, Ben Affleck, and others applauded continuously, clapping repeatedly and praising the film, calling Final Destination fantastic. Link, after watching the film, also thought it was excellent. Before filming, to prevent script flaws, he discussed the script in detail with several producers and screenwriters, refining the plot and making the script more polished. He considered the scenes, the actors' performances, the special effects, and the plot logic all superior to the original, correcting many plot holes and illogical points. For example, the scene where Alex saves Claire was originally cut when lightning struck the high-voltage power lines in front of Claire's house. A broken high-voltage power line swung erratically on the ground. The female protagonist, in order to save her dog, was in danger and later tried to drive away. The car broke down, a gas can exploded, and the power line continued to swing wildly. Just as the female protagonist was about to die, Alex arrived, spouted a lot of nonsense, and finally dragged her out of the car. That scene was poorly handled. The power line circling around the male and female protagonists felt like a prank, and the male protagonist's long, inappropriate monologue to the female protagonist in the car at such a critical moment seemed very out of place. Link, in writing the script, changed the way the male protagonist rescued the female protagonist and shortened the dialogue, replacing it with a different kind of hero saves the damsel in distress, which was far more effective than the original. Film production complete, box office subsidies are being tallied, host participation rate 67.3%, film completion rate 92.3%, film's market fit 76%, rewards 2.3x box office subsidy. Director experience plus 20%, director stamina plus 15%, film quality increase plus 15%. Seeing these numbers, Link's lips curled into a smile. Compared to the Blair Witch Project, Final Destination saw a 10 percentage point increase in participation, a 5 percentage point increase in completion rate, and a 6 percentage point increase in market fit. The film rewards were also significantly higher. The box office subsidy reached 2.3x, double that of the Blair Witch Project. The director experience and stamina bonuses were 2 to 3 times higher, and the film quality increase was 5% higher. This indicated that directing a major film project yielded more substantial box office subsidies and personal rewards. Link: Final Destination is the best plane crash movie I've ever seen. After watching it, I'm a little afraid to fly again, praised Graydon Carter, editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair. I hope this won't interfere with your upcoming schedule. Haha, not at all, Aaron Kutch, deputy editor of The Hollywood Reporter, said. Link: Final Destination is great. It's not just thrilling, it's also very meaningful. After watching it, you'll feel the impermanence of life and cherish every day more. Link: After the movie's release, I'd like to do an interview with you to talk about the creative process of this film. No problem, Director. Link: This movie is fantastic, very cool. I feel it's bound to be a hit. Director. Link: I apologize to you. You were absolutely right to be strict with us during filming. Yes, while watching the movie, I realized my acting was really good, better than many veteran actors. Of course, I also have to thank Director Link for his guidance. Joaquin Phoenix, Matt Damon, Edward Norton, and others also gathered around to congratulate him. Link smiled, dealt with them briefly, and then, using the excuse that the film still had some issues and needed revisions, he took the master tape to the editing studio and watched it several times. After receiving a 15% quality boost, Final Destination reached 98.9% completion. The film has become more refined, the actors' performances appear more seamless and harmonious, and the special effects are exceptionally impressive. The plot has also become more thrilling. Initially, when watching it in the theater, the film's suspense was only average, slightly better than The Witch, but not as bad as Paranormal Activity. However, after receiving a 15% quality boost, the film's suspense was greatly enhanced. For example, scenes of death appearing, plane explosions, and the sudden deaths of several main characters become startling and unexpected, creating a profound sense of fear. When Link watched it alone in the editing studio, he was startled by sudden music and unexpected plot developments, his heart pounding, and the cool air conditioning sending chills down his spine, giving him goosebumps. Overall, it felt scarier than Paranormal Activity. Link smiled slightly. This film should be a big surprise for audiences. Chapter 168 Bet. Link: You've finished filming the movie, why are you still so busy? In the Hollywood K-pop bar, Nicolas Cage leaned back on the sofa, a beer in his hand, and asked Link across from him. After filming, I'm busy with post-production, and after that, I'm preparing for distribution. I can only truly relax after the movie is released, Link said. Johnny Depp, sitting opposite him, laughed. After the movie is released, you'll still have to do promotions. If the box office continues to be a hit, the promotions will last for months, and you'll become even busier. I can leave the promotions to them. I'm the director, missing a few events won't make a big difference, Link laughed. Keanu Reeves said, Link, your first 2 films were phenomenal at the box office, each breaking records. This is your 3rd film, and many people are curious about its box office performance. Do you have the confidence to break another record, box office return on investment record? Impossible. My production cost was $13.5 million. To break a 1,000-fold return on investment, I need $13.5 billion in box office revenue. 10,000 times that is $135 billion. Is that even possible? The original budget was $12 million, but Link completed the film with $10.5 million, using the extra $3 million for special effects. However, the special effects in Final Destination were fantastic, making the money well spent. Nicolas Cage laughed. Link, you can compete for the year's box office champion. There are many blockbusters released this year, such as Jurassic Park, Sleepless in Seattle, and Indecent Proposal. If your film can take the top spot among so many blockbusters, that would be incredibly exciting. I'll try my best to dethrone Jurassic Park from its box office champion position, Link joked. Haha, Link, good luck in advance. The group raised their glasses and laughed. 7 weeks into its run, Jurassic Park had grossed $306 million in North America, with an estimated $350 million. Media outlets predicted it had a chance to break the North American box office record of $359 million set by E.T. the Extraterrestrial. For Link's new film to surpass Jurassic Park, it would need to gross over $360 million in North America, a difficult feat. $360 million? HMPH, some people really dare to dream. Suddenly, a snicker came from the side. Looking over, they saw Robert Downey Jr., Kiefer Sutherland, Brad Pitt, and others drinking nearby. After Robert Downey Jr.'s sneer, the others shook their heads, agreeing that the $360 million figure was laughable. Hey, Robert Downey Jr., what does our conversation have to do with you? What are you laughing at? Nicolas Cage said. Nicola, I didn't mean to laugh, but what you're saying is ridiculous. Jurassic Park grossed over $300 million in North America and over $600 million worldwide. It's a phenomenon. Not just any director can make a movie that achieves that much. Robert Downey Jr. glanced at Link, a half smile on his face. Paranormal Activity grossed $638 million worldwide. Link's movies have sold for that much before, Keanu Reeves said. HMPH. His movies only sold that much because of hype. If it weren't for those murders, that movie would have only made $200 million at most, Kiefer Sutherland said. Nicolas Cage said, what movie doesn't need hype to be a big hit? Did your movie have any publicity or hype after its release? Didn't Jurassic Park have any hype? Every big movie needs media involvement. Is there anything wrong with Paranormal Activity's hype? It's okay for good movies to sell well through hype. Is Paranormal Activity even a good movie? Robert Downey Jr. sneered. Keanu Reeves said, this movie didn't rely on hype when it was released overseas, yet it still grossed over $300 million. That shows everyone likes it. Doesn't a movie that everyone likes mean it's a good movie? Robert, you supported the Blair Witch Project, and everyone loved that movie, Johnny Depp interjected. A burst of laughter erupted in the booth. Robert Downey Jr.'s face darkened. As Link's rival, he had publicly supported the Blair Witch Project without knowing its release. Later, many in the industry joked that he was promoting Link's movie and making money for him, which made him lose face. Robert snorted coldly, looking at Link with displeasure. Link, everyone says your new movie will gross more than Jurassic Park. Why aren't you saying anything? Do you think so too, Mr. Downey? Whether it is or isn't, what does it have to do with you? Jurassic Park isn't your movie. Whether my movie surpasses Jurassic Park at the box office or not has nothing to do with you. What are you expecting? Link said. You? Robert glared at him angrily. Kiefer Sutherland patted him on the shoulder. Link, stop talking so much. Just tell me, are you confident you can surpass Jurassic Park at the box office? Link nodded. I have complete confidence in every film I make. I believe audiences will love it, haha. Okay, Link, are you willing to bet with us? Robert Downey Jr. immediately said excitedly, how about we bet $1 million, $1 million? That's too low class. I'm not interested, fuck. What did you say? Robert Downey Jr. was furious, grabbing a bottle and preparing to attack. Link's bodyguard, Wallace, stepped forward, hands in his pockets, striking a gun-wielding pose, staring coldly at him. Keanu Sutherland, David Duchovny, and Brad Pitt quickly pulled him back, urging him not to be too impulsive. Robert Downey Jr. sneered, Link, what are you pretending to be, you nouveau riche? You're only saying this because you're afraid to bet, right? Because your movie is so bad, you have no confidence in its box office performance, so you don't dare bet with me. Link shook his head. Jurassic Park has already been released, grossing over $600 million worldwide, estimated to be over $900 million. My movie hasn't been released yet, the box office performance is unknown. You're betting on an unknown box office with known box office figures, only a fool would bet with you. If you really want to bet, let's change the method. Bet on whether my new movie's box office or Jurassic Park's will be higher, with odds of 1 to 100. You bet $100 million. If you lose, it's all mine. If you win, I'll give you $1 million. That's fair, everyone nodded. According to the rules of the betting industry, this betting method was indeed fairer. HMPH, the odds were too high, he couldn't afford that much money. How about 10 times? We can bet on 10 times the odds, Kiefer Sutherland asked. Jurassic Park is estimated to gross over $900 million worldwide. With such a high chance of winning, you guys still aren't confident. 100 times is too high. Even if Link wins this bet, He can't afford to lose too much money, otherwise, it's meaningless. Link glanced at them and smiled. Or you can bet me on an unreleased movie. I can give you 1 odds, on the condition that the stakes don't fall below $10 million. I'm not interested in stakes that are too low. Chapter 169 Betting. Robert Downey Jr. frowned. This bet seemed pretty good. Kiefer Sutherland's eyes lit up. Any unreleased movie? Any movie released this year? Great. Kiefer Sutherland leaned close to Robert Downey Jr.'s ear and said, we can bet with him. Tom Cruise's new movie, The Sugar Trap, had excellent test screenings. Of the 43 distributors, producers, and critics who attended, 35 gave it a score of 90 or higher, and 95% approval rating. It's projected to gross over $200 million in North America. Link's new movie definitely won't reach $200 million. We have a very good chance of winning this bet, Robert Downey Jr. said. $10 million is too much? I don't have that much money. Although he was a top-tier movie star with movie salaries reaching millions of dollars, his daily expenses were too high, including buying alcohol and medicine, and he had made several unsuccessful investments. Currently, he didn't even have $1 million in cash, let alone $10 million. Kiefer Sutherland whispered, we can invite Richard, Dustin, and a few others to place a bet. If we win this round, we can not only make a fortune but also embarrass Link, a win-win situation. Robert Downey Jr. thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. Link, are you sure any movie will do? Of course, I'm very confident in my movies, HMPH. We accept your suggestion, but we still need to consider which movie to bet on. We'll give you an answer within 3 days, whatever. Link continued chatting with Nicolas Cage and the others. Link, are you really going to bet? Nicolas Cage asked. Just playing around with them, otherwise making movies every day is too boring, Link laughed. But aren't you worried about losing a $10 million bet? Keanu Reeves asked. Johnny Depp interjected, Link is a billionaire, $10 million is nothing to him. You rich people are really insane when it comes to seeking thrills, Keanu exclaimed. Link shook his head. He dared to bet other movies on Final Destination because he was confident of winning. Winning this bet would not only earn him some pocket money but also teach Robert Downey Jr. and his ilk a lesson, a win-win situation. What are you guys talking about? Monica Bellucci and Keanu Reeves' girlfriend Jennifer walked over with drinks. We discussed a big deal, Link laughed. Meanwhile, after leaving the bar, Robert Downey Jr. and his group immediately called Richard Gere and Dustin Hoffman, mentioning their $10 million bet with Link and asking if it was feasible. Richard Gere was very interested and agreed, but said he would do his research before accepting the bet. He then called Tom Cruise and producer Scott Rudin to inquire about The Sugar Trap. The Firm is a film produced by Paramount Pictures, adapted from John Grisham's best-selling novel of the same name. Filming began last November and wrapped in March, with a production cost of $42 million. The film is produced by Hollywood's top producer, Scott Rudin. The director is Sidney Pollack, a 3-time Academy Award nominee for Best Director, who won Best Picture and Best Director in 1986 for Out of Africa. The screenplay is also written by 3 prominent figures, best-selling author John Grisham, renowned director and screenwriter Robert Downey, and acclaimed screenwriter David Rabe. The male lead in The Firm is Hollywood A-list star Tom Cruise. The supporting actor is Gene Hackman, a renowned Hollywood supporting actor who has been nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor multiple times and won the award this March for his role in Unforgiven. The supporting actresses are Jenny Tripplehorn, who rose to fame last year with Basic Instinct, and Holly Hunter, who won the Academy Award for Best Actress this March for The Piano. Other supporting actors include Ed Harris, Wilford Brimley, and Hal Holbrook, all veteran Hollywood actors known for their superb acting skills. This film is a typical Hollywood commercial film, a top-tier producer, popular stars, a talented director, acclaimed supporting actors, and a Hollywood-style inspirational story. With acting talent, buzz, and guaranteed quality, such a cast makes it almost impossible for the film to lose money. Tom Cruise, hearing that the group was planning to bet the box office of The Sugar Trap against Link's new film, became interested and, after inquiring about the stakes and odds, offered to contribute $2 million to participate in their bet. Richard Gere readily agreed. After contacting Tom Cruise and others, Richard Gere was confident in the sugar-coating trap. Just to be safe, they used various connections to contact people who had attended the preview screening of Final Destination, obtaining some inside information. The 22 people who attended the internal screening of Final Destination had a less than 80% approval rating, and the estimated box office was around $60 million. The Sugarcoating Trap, on the other hand, had a 95% approval rating and was expected to gross over $120 million. In this respect, they were guaranteed to win the bet. Betting on Link would be like picking up money. "Then I'll call Link now and tell him we accept the bet," Robert Downey Jr. said excitedly. "No rush. If we're going to play, why not go big? Link is worth hundreds of millions, he can afford to lose," Richard Gere said with a smile. "Go big, you want to increase the stakes, but we don't have that much money," Robert Downey Jr. and Kiefer Sutherland said. "Richard, just play around, don't bet too much," his wife Cindy Crawford advised. "Don't worry about it," Richard Gere waved his hand and laughed. "We may not have the money, but the bank does. After we beat Link, we can pay the bank back and make tens of millions more, enough for us to make a dozen movies. We can also spread the word to other people and attract more funding. This time, we're going to make Link lose everything and go bankrupt." Richard Gere clenched his fist and slammed it hard on the table. Last time at the Bram Stoker's Dracula party, he was accidentally ambushed by Link and humiliated in public. Later, on the Blair Witch Project, he was ambushed by Link again, and his new movie, Just Like an Old Friend, was crushed at the box office by Link's new movie. He harbored deep hatred and had to beat Link badly to vent his anger. Gambling with a loan, Kiefer Sutherland preferred drugs to gambling and was less daring in this regard. What if we lose? I know the odds are slim, but if we do lose, we'll lose a lot of money." "Don't worry, we won't lose," Richard Gere said confidently. Putting aside the fact that his new movie's approval rating is far lower than the Sugar Powder Trap, don't forget we have CAA behind us. The 7 studios won't just sit by and watch Link's movie do well. This time, as long as we're bold enough, we'll definitely beat Link. I'm betting $8 million on him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 High Stakes Gamble. "Richard, calm down, this is too risky," his wife Cindy Crawford advised. "Don't worry about it, we're 100% sure we'll win this bet," Richard Gere waved his hand, completely ignoring his wife's advice. Dustin Hoffman nodded. "The odds are very high, I'll bet $3 million. We can also get some other people to bet. With more people, we can come up with $10 million, let alone $10 million. With more people betting, I'm afraid Link won't concede. We can get the bookmakers involved, give them a cut. They'll definitely be happy to act as arbitrators," Richard Gere said with a smile. I'll bet $2 million, Robert Downey Jr. said, clenching his fist. Kiefer Sutherland thought for a moment and also agreed to bet $2 million. Including bets from Tom Cruise, David Duchovny, and others, the total bet amounted to $21 million, far exceeding the expected $10 million. As he was preparing to contact Link to place the bet, Ron Mayer, the vice president of CAA, called Richard Gere. Some of the company's top executives were also interested in the bet and were prepared to wager $30 million against Link. Robert Downey Jr. was asked to negotiate the betting with Link. Downey Jr. and his associates became extremely excited upon hearing that someone from CAA was also willing to bet. Within CAA, only a handful of people, such as Michael Ovitz and Ron Mayer, could afford to wager tens of millions of dollars. If even these bigwigs believed that The Sugar Trap would surpass Link's new film at the box office, it meant the bet had a very high chance of success. Robert Downey Jr., in a moment of desperation, mortgaged his property and took out a $3 million loan from the bank, totaling $5 million, to participate in the bet. Robert Downey Sr., upon hearing that he had taken out a loan to bet, called to dissuade him from taking the risk, saying that The Sugar Trap's box office potential wasn't that great, and as the film's screenwriter, he knew its true potential better than anyone else. Robert Downey Jr. ignored them and continued to solicit bets. With a 3-day deadline fast approaching, he called Link in front of Richard Gere and the others. A $55 million bet. In his office, Link was surprised to receive Downey Jr.'s call. He had anticipated Downey Jr. might participate in the betting, but he hadn't expected such a large stake. Based on Downey Jr.'s estimated salary, his total net worth wouldn't exceed $10 million. His willingness to bet over $50 million indicated that many others were also involved. $55 million, Robert, are you sure? Stop talking nonsense, just say you dare to bet. If you don't dare, admit defeat, Downey Jr. sneered dismissively. Link pondered. Downey Jr. and the others proposed betting on Tom Cruise's new film, The Sugar Trap. He wasn't sure how much the film would gross, but compared to Tom Cruise's other films like Top Gun, Rain Man, Interview with a Vampire, Jerry Maguire, and the Mission Impossible series, this film had a much smaller impact and wasn't even one of Cruise's representative works. This suggested that The Sugar-Coating Trap was of mediocre quality and its box office performance wouldn't be very high. Barring unforeseen circumstances, the gamble had a high chance of success. Link didn't immediately answer Robert Downey Jr.'s question, saying he needed to consider it before replying. He called Sean Tang, the head of the legal department, to inquire about the legality of this type of betting, how to ensure the safety of funds, how to guarantee the opponent wouldn't renege if you won, and how to minimize taxes. Sean Tang suggested finding a bank or betting company as a third party. Before placing bets, both parties would deposit funds into a bank's public account and sign a betting agreement, with the winning party owning all the funds in that account. This type of betting was common in the financial world, and banks had arbitrated many such agreements, making them relatively reliable. Using a betting company was also an option, but betting companies would take a larger cut. Regarding tax reduction, accounts could be opened in states with lower tax rates or in tax havens overseas, allowing for higher winnings on bets. After consulting with Sean Down, Link didn't immediately call Robert Downey Jr. back to accept the bet. His reason was that he had little interest in gambling and drugs, and didn't need to make money this way, so his enthusiasm was low. Less than half an hour later, Robert Downey Jr. called again, asking if he was afraid to gamble, and if so, to publicly concede, and also telling him the bet had increased to $65 million. $65 million is nothing to me. I'm happy to gamble if you want, but are you sure you can come up with $65 million? Link said. Stop talking nonsense. If you dare to gamble, $65 million will be in your account within 3 days. Okay, I'll take it. Link hung up. For the next few days, he continued working on his new film. The new film is Seven, a collaboration with New Line Cinema. After Final Destination, New Line president Robert Shea approached him, proposing to begin preparations for this film project, aiming to finish filming by the end of the year. Considering he had nothing else to do for the foreseeable future, Link agreed to start preparing for Seven. The film Seven tells the story of a series of murders in New York City. Veteran detective Somerset Mitchell and rookie officer David Mills, during their investigation, unexpectedly discover that several victims, before their deaths, committed one of the 7 deadly sins according to Catholic doctrine: gluttony, greed, sloth, envy, pride, lust, and wrath. The killer's methods are bloody, brutal, and unscrupulous, and he enjoys creating an air of mystery, further complicating the case. Ultimately, even rookie officer David Mills becomes involved, becoming one of the perpetrators of the 7 deadly sins. This film is of high quality, nominated for an Academy Award, and was quite challenging to make. However, after accumulating considerable directing experience, director Sean Downs was confident in making a good film. When he began preparing for his new film, Sean Downs led his team in negotiations with a legal team sent by the CAA, Cathay of the Americas, to discuss the specific terms of the bet. Due to the long release periods of some films overseas, some movies are still being shown in foreign regions more than a decade after their initial release. CAA proposed a bet based solely on the North American box office performance of the two films, The Sugar Trap and Final Destination. The film with the higher North American box office after 15 weeks would win. Sean Tang disagreed, arguing that while The Sugar Trap's cast and crew had greater appeal in North America, its overseas box office draw was limited, whereas Link's films had global appeal. Comparing only North American box office would be disadvantageous for Final Destination. Tang also suggested placing the betting account in Hong Kong, where tax rates are lower. CAA disagreed, insisting on the Cayman Islands, a tax haven. The two sides couldn't reach an agreement on these two terms. With The Sugar Trap's release imminent, both sides compromised. Guess what? Films agreed to only compare the North American box office performance of the first 15 weeks, and CAA agreed to place the betting account in a Citibank bank in Hong Kong. On the eve of The Sugar Trap's release, The lawyers representing both sides signed the betting agreement at the Citibank building in Hong Kong. The two sides wagered $72 million each on the box office returns of The Sugar Powder Trap and Final Destination in North America during their first 15 weeks. Chapter 171 released. During the negotiations, Fox Entertainment first reported the news, claiming that, according to sources, Link had placed a bet with Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, Richard Gere, Dustin Hoffman, and others on which film's box office performance would be better, Tom Cruise's new film Sugar Trap or Link's new film Final Destination. The bet was reportedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars. After the news broke, Hollywood was abuzz, and several major casinos in the U.S. followed suit with similar betting options. Many people were discussing who had a higher probability of winning. Supporters of Tom Cruise and Link were evenly matched. The reason given was that Tom Cruise had a large following, the trailer for his new film looked good, and the overall quality of the film seemed promising, so its box office performance shouldn't be too bad. Supporters of Link believe that his first two films had extremely high box office returns, setting a record for the highest box office return in film history, and his third film should also perform well. Originally, this was a bet between Link and Robert Downey Jr., but in the media, it became a bet between Link and Tom Cruise. CAA's motivation was to capitalize on Tom Cruise's immense popularity and large fan base in the U.S. They reasoned that after the film's release, these fans would unconditionally support him, betting on his victory. Furthermore, those who supported Cruise, knowing about the bet, would likely boycott Link's film. This created a significant disadvantage for Link. During a conversation at the Bald Eagle Club with Jerome Preston, Aaron Kutch, and others, they also agreed that he shouldn't have made a bet with CAA. CAA was a giant in the talent agency industry, and its president, Michael Ovitz, was ranked number 1 on the Hollywood Reporter's 1992 list of Hollywood's most powerful person, maintaining close ties with executives at the 7 major U.S. media groups. After the release of Final Destination, if CAA contacted all media outlets to ban its promotion, the film's lack of exposure would severely impact its box office performance. Secondly, CAA represented numerous stars. If they arranged for their artists to actively promote The Sugar-Coating Trap, the film could potentially earn millions more at the box office. The last few people warned Link to be careful, as CAA might manipulate the box office figures for The Sugar Trap, inflating the film's numbers to turn tens of millions into hundreds of millions, even $200 or $300 million. This kind of thing is not uncommon in the North American film market. The 7 major Hollywood studios have close ties with theater chains, and some theater chains are also shareholders of the 7 major studios, all from Wall Street. Under the manipulation of Wall Street capital, theater chains will use various methods to boost a film's box office performance. For example, they might transfer box office revenue from other films released at the same time to The Sugar Trap, increase its screening rate, or hold promotional events to increase attendance. While manipulating a film's box office has its costs, as long as they win the bet and get the $72 million wager, CAA will also make a fortune. Ultimately, only Link will suffer the loss. Link, I originally thought you only liked women, but now you've even picked up the bad habit of gambling. This is not good. Jerome Preston shook his head. Don't talk nonsense. I just wanted to bet $10 million to teach Robert Downey Jr. a lesson. I didn't expect them to bet tens of millions. Since they wanted to bet, I couldn't back out, so I accepted, over $70 million. Are you confident you can win? Yes, I have confidence in my movie, Link said. The men shook their heads, raised their glasses, and advised him to take it easy. He was still young and relatively wealthy. Losing once was a lesson learned, so he wouldn't fall for it again. Link smiled and accepted their kindness. Through his conversation with them, Link understood that winning this bet wouldn't be easy, and the risk of failure was considerable. He consulted with John Gordon and others, suggesting that the publicity department contact the media in advance, sign film promotion agreements with them, increase the compensation amount, and prevent the media from being pressured by CAA to refuse to promote the film after its release. This would allow them to increase their publicity budget. Those media outlets also needed to make money. They wouldn't turn down business that was offered to them. Meanwhile, Link called Joe Fermi, head of distribution, instructing him to hire people to monitor box office figures in major cities after the release of The Sugar-Coating Trap, looking for any anomalies and, if any, to find evidence. After some consideration, he rescinded this order. The betting agreement between the two parties included a clause stating that after 15 weeks of box office data, if one side's figures were superior, the arbitrator would automatically declare the winning side the winner of the bet. There were no additional conditions or provisions for handling disputes over box office data. The aim was to prevent one side from reneging on the bet after losing. Link instructed Joe Fermi to expand the number of theaters showing Final Destination to at least 2,000. He believed the sugar-coating trap would not be shown in fewer than 2,000 theaters. After arranging these tasks, on July 16, the sugar-coating trap opened in 2,425 theaters in North America, 21 more than Jurassic Park. Its opening weekend grossed $32.74 million, ending Jurassic Park's 7-week reign at the top and claiming the #1 spot at the weekly box office. The sugar-coating trap tells the story of a righteous rookie lawyer who, after joining a law firm, discovers that the firm is laundering money for the mafia. Those who refuse to cooperate with the firm mysteriously die. When the protagonist prepares to investigate, he attracts the mafia's pursuit. Faced with threats from the law firm, the criminal organization, and the Department of Justice, the protagonist decides to declare war on the criminal organization. This is a typical Hollywood feel-good movie. A handsome, righteous protagonist, a beautiful and morally upright wife, and a united and loving team of friends versus a money-grubbing law firm, a bloodthirsty and dirty capitalist side, and incompetent judicial personnel. Through hard work and struggle, the protagonist team ultimately leads the righteous and kind side to victory over the ugly, evil, and dirty side. Overall, the movie is not bad. It's an old-school Hollywood elite crime thriller. However, the film also has many problems. For example, too much content was cut from the original work, compressing much of the story into a 2.5-hour film, resulting in an incomplete narrative. For a suspense thriller, it lacks genuine suspense and isn't thrilling enough. It can absolutely be viewed as a modern workplace romance film. After its release, many media outlets pointed out problems with the film. The Austin Chronicle stated, "The film may be more of a modern moral tale than a thriller. The three screenwriters, John Grisham, Robert Downey, and David Rabe, are not entirely polished in their narrative, making it a mediocre work compared to other films directed by Sidney Pollack." TV Guide commented, "For some viewers, it's a thriller, but as a thriller, it's far from exciting, although guessing." Pictures arranged for some media outlets to report negative news about the film. It had little effect. After the release of the sugar-coating trap, CAA and the film's distributor, Paramount Pictures, arranged for more major media outlets to report positive news about the film. Chapter 172 Crisis. The film has been praised by numerous publications, including the Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and USA Today, as well as television networks such as ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. They hailed the sugar-coating trap as the best drama of the year and the best legal thriller of the decade, deeming it a must-see for everyone. Following its release, almost all of CAA's stars stepped forward to promote the film, including A-list celebrities such as Tom Hanks, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steven Spielberg, George Clooney, Madonna, Richard Gere, Dustin Hoffman, Nicole Kidman, Robert Downey Jr., Meryl Streep, and Jodie Foster. Even Nicolas Cage, Keanu Reeves, and Michelle Pfeiffer, due to their contracts, were compelled to publicly praise the sugar-coating trap. Variety magazine described the film as receiving rave reviews after its release. In its second week of release, the sugar-coating trap grossed $43.07 million, retaining its top spot at the box office. Its North American total reached $75.81 million, and media predictions suggested it would gross over $160 million. However, the media underestimated the power of the CAA. To maximize the sugar-coating trap's box office, the CAA lobbied Disney, Columbia Pictures, Universal Pictures, and other film studios, successfully delaying the release of several major films, including Sniper starring Harry Fordson, the Warner Brothers family film Mermaid Story, and the Disney comedy Crazy Witches. Meanwhile, Paramount Pictures, the distributor of the sugar-coating trap, intensified its promotional efforts, flooding the news media with promotional reports and plastering movie posters throughout the United States. Paramount also adopted Link's marketing methods, generating numerous trending news stories after the sugar-coating trap's release. For example, the lead actors, Tom Cruise and Janet Tripplehorn, developed feelings for each other while filming, sparking a romance that caused the marital crisis for Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Cruise and others subsequently clarified that it was all a misunderstanding. A company also sued the film's producers, claiming that the film's depiction of a criminal organization resembled their own, damaging their reputation, and demanding a public apology from Cruise. Then, a lawyer claimed the company was also involved in economic crimes and filed a lawsuit in local court. The judicial authorities subsequently confirmed the case. And so on. The media was abuzz with daily reports about the film. In its third week of release, The Sugar Trap grossed $30.46 million in North America, bringing its total to $106 million. It became the fastest film to surpass the $100 million mark this year since Jurassic Park, even 2 days faster than The Blair Witch Project. Variety predicted the film could reach $200 million. Yay! Robert Downey Jr. excitedly pumped his fist upon hearing that The Sugar Trap had surpassed the $100 million mark. Excellent. Excellent, Richard Gere nodded with a smile as he looked at the newspaper. In recent years, only 7 or 8 films have grossed over $100 million annually in North America. For The Sugar Trap to surpass $100 million would place it in the top 10 of the annual box office rankings. With over 200 films released in North America each year, including many blockbusters, making it extremely difficult for a film to crack the top 10 is incredibly difficult. From this perspective, the bet with Link was already half won. The Sugar Trap has grossed over $100 million. Should we throw a party to celebrate? Dustin Hoffman asked. I agree, Kiefer Sutherland laughed. Richard Gere waved his hand and said with a smile, don't be too happy yet. While The Sugar Trap has grossed over $100 million, it doesn't guarantee a win against Link's new film. We can celebrate after we win, haha, we'll definitely win. Link's first 3 films were huge successes mainly due to hype and publicity. Now that he's stopped using hype, this film might not even break even, let alone gross over $100 million, Robert Downey Jr. said. Yes, we can celebrate in advance, and then have a big celebration after we win the bet, Dustin Hoffman said. His suggestion was supported by several people, who invited a group of friends to a party at the villa to celebrate in advance for the sugarcoating trap, and also to celebrate their victory over Link in the bet and make a fortune off him. Link, I heard you made a bet with Tom Cruise, is that true? You lost and gave him $100 million, Quentin Tarantino called to ask. Yes, after the news of the bet spread, many acquaintances called to inquire. The media said the bet was between him and Tom Cruise, and others also believed it was true. Rumors circulated that each side put up $100 million, some even saying $200 million. Link had to explain again. You're betting against a whole group of CAA by yourself? Are you crazy? It was their suggestion, it was quite interesting, and I didn't object. Interesting? The Sugar Trap has grossed over $100 million so far, and the estimated box office is $200 million. Will your new movie gross over $100 million? By the way, how's your new movie? Quentin was busy making Pulp Fiction at the studio during the last test screening and didn't have time to come and see the movie. Not bad, better than 99% of thrillers in film history, huh, I don't believe it. I haven't seen your new movie, but I imagine it's similar to your previous 3. Your first 3 movies relied entirely on hype to become big hits. How can this one be a big hit without hype? My movies are all about quality. This one is even better, $100 million at the box office is no problem. $100 million won't beat The Sugar Trap. There are a lot of rumors in the industry that you're about to go bankrupt and become a penniless pauper again. Link, why don't you just focus on making movies and picking up girls? Why did you get into gambling? If you go bankrupt, I'll use you as an example to warn my son never to gamble. Anyone who gets into gambling will suffer, including the once genius director Link. Quentin kept rambling on the phone, as if Link was destined to lose his bet and go bankrupt. Stop. Stop daydreaming. You don't even have a girlfriend, let alone a son. Even if you did have a son, my story would be the most inspiring one he'd ever read, not a cautionary tale. Link interrupted Quentin's rambling, asking how the production of Pulp Fiction was going, when it would be finished, and how to release it as soon as possible. After hanging up, Link received calls from others, criticizing him for taking the gamble, encouraging him to persevere, to learn from his mistakes, and that losing this time was okay. He could make it back by making a few more good movies. Even Harvey Weinstein called, jokingly asking if he wanted to start filming The Butterfly Effect ahead of schedule, saying that if the film made money, it would break even, preventing him from losing too much because of the gamble. Link reassured him that a mere $70 million was nothing to him, and losing it wouldn't matter. Harvey smacked his lips a few times, sourly praising him for being really rich. Michelle Pfeiffer also called, saying that Richard Gere, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, and others were having a party at their villa to celebrate the huge success of the sugar-coating trap and their impending victory in their bet. Pfeiffer asked him if he might lose. Link said it was possible, but it didn't matter, tens of millions meant nothing to him. After hanging up, Link began to feel a little anxious, something he hadn't felt before, but now that many people believe he would lose, he was unconsciously influenced by the information circulating outside. Based on the current situation, the sugar-coating trap was estimated to have grossed $160 million. Final Destination, on the other hand, had grossed approximately $100 million in North America, with a 2.3x box office subsidy, totaling about $230 million. If CAA manipulated the sugar-coating trap's box office figures, inflating them to over $200 million, Final Destination might also lose. Furthermore, after Final Destination's release, CAA controlled the publicity channels, preventing media coverage of Final Destination, which could prevent the box office compensation from being paid out in the short term, potentially leading to a loss for Final Destination. Chapter 173 Countermeasures. To ensure Final Destination's success, effective marketing is crucial. The previous film, The Blair Witch Project, had a 1.2x box office subsidy, and its effective marketing made The Blair Witch Project a household name across North America, with everyone knowing about the murderous witch in Wilton. The film's relevance to the market gradually increased through promotion. Later, the subsidy slowly increased to 1.5x, propelling The Blair Witch Project to over $300 million worldwide. Link thought for a moment, then called the company's management, convening a meeting to discuss the promotion and distribution of Final Destination and how to boost the film's profile. The Sugar Trap, in its fourth week of release, grossed $16.57 million in North America, bringing its cumulative total to $123 million, once again topping the weekly box office. However, this week saw a significant drop in box office revenue, making it the worst-performing film of the summer season. Furthermore, due to the delayed release of several major films, the total box office revenue for all films released this week was only $54.75 million, significantly lower than previous weeks and the same period in the previous 2 years. This has drawn criticism from some filmmakers regarding CAA and the Sugar Trap's approach. The New York Daily News published an article claiming that the Sugar Trap and Paramount Pictures' practices constituted a monopoly, hindering the development of the film market, and that the judiciary should actively intervene to investigate the illegal activities during the film's release. The Hollywood Reporter commented that the MPAA's silence in this process was condoning the illegal activities of relevant companies, which was extremely detrimental to the entire film industry and harmed the interests of all filmmakers. The Guardian commented that the recent Hollywood film market is reminiscent of Hollywood before the Paramount Decree in 1948, when the Hollywood film industry was monopolized by the Big 8 studios, including Paramount Pictures, a situation that still exists today. Renowned film critic Will Rogers commented in the news that the air of a free film market is clean, while a monopolistic film market reeks. The Sugar Trap, a film that exposes darkness and criticizes evil, has now become a source of evil. Reality is more ironic than the film. Furthermore, tabloids reported that Tom Cruise is a follower of the shoe cult, and that after the release of The Sugar Trap, other film distributors were threatened by the cult and forced to delay their releases. Tabloids also claimed that The Sugar Trap was a terrible film, alleging that its tens of millions in box office revenue was a result of a joint hype effort by CAA and Paramount, with the box office figures being highly inflated. Under pressure from public opinion, several films that were supposed to be delayed were released as scheduled. In its fifth week of release, Sniper, starring Harry Fordson, was released. The film grossed $27.35 million in its opening week in 2,340 theaters, easily becoming the box office champion. This week, The Sugar Trap only earned $6.58 million, ranking fourth, showing a weaker performance later in the week. Second place went to Justin's Poetry, starring Janet Jackson and rapper Tupac, a fan-oriented film, with an opening week gross of $11.19 million. Third place went to The Wedding Banquet, a Chinese-language film produced by Guess the Movies, with $6.93 million this week. Fifth place went to Jurassic Park, which had been in theaters for 12 weeks, with $4.15 million this week, bringing its cumulative box office to $315 million. After this week's box office figures were released, many were surprised that The Sugar Trap only ranked fourth, and the box office performance of The Wedding Banquet also surprised many. No one expected that at this time, SY Pictures would release such a film, and it even surpassed The Sugar Trap in the weekly box office, entering the top 3. Media outlets have delved into The Wedding Banquet, and the information they uncovered is even more surprising. The Wedding Banquet is a gay-themed film, produced by Good Machine Pictures. After Good Machine was acquired by SY Pictures, the film's distribution and marketing were handled by SY Pictures. The production cost was $750,000, directed by the relatively unknown director Ang Lee, and the film's main cast consisted almost entirely of Chinese actors, with virtually no star actors. The Wedding Banquet had a limited run in 7 North American theaters 2 weeks prior, grossing $134,000 in its opening week, averaging $19,000 per day, a very strong performance. In its second week, it expanded to 426 theaters, grossing $6.93 million that week, for a cumulative total of $7.06 million, almost 10 times its production cost, making it a blockbuster film. After the news broke, people in the industry envied Link's good fortune. His own films were consistently box office hits with extremely high returns, and now the films produced by the film company he acquired were also becoming blockbusters. He was incredibly lucky. What amused people even more was that the low-budget film, The Wedding Banquet, had surpassed Tom Cruise's The Sugar Trap at the box office this week. Initially, everyone thought Link was going to lose after The Sugar Trap grossed over $100 million. The success of The Wedding Banquet gave many who thought Link was going to lose more confidence in him. Even in Las Vegas, several casinos lowered the odds of Link winning, from an initial 111 to 1-8. Damn it. How come SY Pictures has a movie released at this time, and it's making so much money? Tom Cruise said unhappily. He was someone who didn't like to lose, and he especially didn't want to lose to a Chinese person. Seeing the newspaper reports that SY Pictures films were doing well, and that Link had a chance to win the bet, made him very uncomfortable. It's alright, Paramount Pictures chairman Shirley Lansing reassured him. The sugar-coating trap has currently grossed $130 million, with estimated totals of at least $180 million, and global box office no less than $300 million. It's expected to be in the top 5 at the annual box office, which is a very good result. It's unlikely that Link's new film will achieve that number. Shirley Lansing, 50, joined Paramount Pictures in 1992, becoming its chairman and CEO, and the first woman to head one of the 7 major Hollywood studios. After taking office, Lansing proposed many film production plans to revitalize Paramount. One of these plans was to create a series of Tom Cruise-style blockbusters, including last year's Indecent Proposal, this The Sugar-Coating Trap, and the currently developing Mission Impossible series. Tom Cruise's rise to global stardom in recent years is largely attributed to Paramount's support. Surely, I know it's hard for Link's new movie to reach $300 million at the box office, but things can change. I hate surprises. I hope The Sugar Trap does even better, so Link's new movie can never catch up, okay? Tom Cruise looked up at Shirley Lansing earnestly. Shirley Lansing touched his cheek and said gently, "Don't worry, the company is still promoting The Sugar Trap. I'll have them increase the promotional efforts to get more box office revenue for the movie." "Shirley, thank you." Tom Cruise hugged her waist and pressed his face against her stomach. After leaving Paramount Pictures, Tom Cruise called Michael Ovitz, president of CAA, to ask for advice on how to deal with Link. Ovitz told him not to worry, The Wedding Banquet was just a low-budget art film, with a box office of at most tens of millions, and it wouldn't affect The Sugar Trap's box office. In addition, CAA would continue to contact the media and increase the promotional efforts, and The Sugar Trap's box office would definitely increase next week. Hearing Ovitz say this, Tom Cruise finally felt relieved. Chapter 174 Director Lee. Tom Cruise is getting anxious. At the Death Star building, CAA agency headquarters, Michael Ovitz said, hanging up the phone. He's too competitive, too concerned with winning and losing. This mentality isn't good for his long-term development, Vice President Ron Mayer said casually, puffing on his cigarette. He's still young. With more experience, he won't care so much about these small things worth tens of millions, Michael Ovitz chuckled. He was not only the founder of CAA agency but also its head agent, personally signing many of its top actors, including director Spielberg, Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman, and others. Tom Cruise, in particular, was a top star he had personally cultivated and was one of CAA's flagship talents. Neither he nor CAA wanted any blemish on Tom Cruise's reputation. Guess what? Another low-budget film from the studio is a blockbuster. I have to say, Link is really lucky, Ron Mayer said. Ovitz shook his head. The wedding banquet grossed around 10 or 20 million in North America. It's not worth our attention. What we need to watch out for is Final Destination. This bet, though a small game, is one that nobody wants to lose. What's your plan? Final Destination didn't get great reviews during its test screenings, but Link was very lucky. If he's lucky again when Final Destination is released, and there are a few big news stories in the media, we might lose this bet. To be on the safe side, I suggest boosting the box office of Sugarcoating Trap to another level, ideally over 200 million. With over 200 million, our chances of winning are much higher. That would be quite costly. Inflating box office figures isn't difficult, but it costs money. Randomly fabricated numbers won't fool the media or the IRS, it has to be real money. Also, improper operations make it easy for competitors to find a target and attack us in the media. Staged events also cost a lot of money. Ovitz said, I'll personally discuss the box office strategy for the Sugar Trap with Shirley Lansing, trying to involve Paramount Pictures as much as possible to reduce our investment. However, if we win this gamble, we can recoup the money we've spent. Okay, I agree with your suggestion. With the joint efforts of Paramount Pictures and CAA, the Sugar Trap bucked the trend and saw its box office rise, earning $10.91 million this week, a 40% increase compared to last week. The film's cumulative North American box office reached $141 million. However, what displeased Tom Cruise and others was that The Wedding Banquet also performed well this week, earning $8.28 million, ranking third in the weekly box office, only behind Sniper and The Sugar Trap. The film's production cost was only $750,000, and its current cumulative North American box office has reached $15.34 million, a return on investment of 20 times, a result that many people envy. Director Lee, what's the next movie you're making? Do you have any plans? At the company, Link met with director Ang Lee and congratulated him on the success of his new film. My next film will still focus on urban men and women, using Chinese cuisine to portray their relationships. The script isn't finalized yet. I hope director Lin can offer some guidance once it is, director Ang Lee said rather reservedly. You flatter me. Link waved his hand and said, we're two different types of directors. I can't direct your films, nor can I offer guidance, but I believe in your abilities. Whatever film you choose to make, the company will support you. I heard you have a good relationship with producer James Shamus. James will continue to produce your films in the future. Thank you for your support, Director Lin, Director Ang Lee said. Link then chatted with Director Ang Lee about Chinese films, hoping he would have the opportunity to make more films with Chinese themes. Filmmaking costs in China are generally low, and if done well, films can not only make money domestically but also achieve good box office results in North America. Director Ang Lee said he also had this idea, but didn't have any good ideas yet. He would consider making a Chinese film as a trial after finishing his current films. Link supported his decision. After seeing director Ang Lee off, Link shook his head and smiled. Both he and director Lee were Chinese, reserved in nature, and spoke in a rather serious and formal manner. A conversation between two men like that, without a third person to liven things up, would easily become awkward. Knock knock knock. Before Link could even begin his work, his new assistant brought in Joe Ferrero. Joe Ferrero was in charge of the distribution department at Guess the Movies. He handed Link a document containing data on the inflated box office figures for The Sugar Trap last week. According to the investigation, Paramount Pictures spent a staggering $2 million on promotion for The Sugar Trap last week. Furthermore, two other Paramount films had abnormal box office figures last week. One was the erotic thriller The Voyeur, which had been in theaters for over 3 months. Its box office had dropped by 80% compared to the previous 2 weeks. Another film, the comedy sci-fi movie Point the Alien, was released on July 23. It performed well at the box office for its first 4 weeks, but its performance declined sharply after the release of The Sugar Trap. Last week, It only grossed $530,000, more than $2 million less than the previous 2 weeks, while the number of theaters showing it remained unchanged. Analysis of the box office data shows that the decline in box office revenue for both films is highly abnormal. Staff in the distribution department responsible for investigating market data suspect that Paramount Pictures secretly transferred box office revenue from the 2 films to The Sugar Trap to boost its box office figures. Besides these 2, there may be other films involved, but the data department staff is too small to track too many film data fluctuations. After reviewing the data, Link felt this matter was somewhat troublesome. Although Paramount Pictures was stealing box office revenue, it was stealing from its own productions, there were no victims in such cases, and legal investigations were not feasible. Furthermore, the data fluctuations for these 2 films were too small, and the data wasn't too outrageous. It was the kind of situation where something seemed wrong, and a proper investigation wouldn't uncover anything. Link could only have Joe Ferrer continue to monitor the box office performance of The Sugar Trap, trying to find more compelling evidence. After Joe Ferrero left, Link called Jerome Preston to tell him about the incident and ask for advice on exposing Paramount's tricks. Jerome Preston believed that box office matters were complex, and even if evidence was found, Paramount and the theaters would have reasonable grounds to deny it. He advised against doubting the accounting capabilities of firms like PricewaterhouseCoopers. Jerome suggested that once he had concrete evidence, he should use media exposure to attract public attention and keep everyone focused on the box office performance of The Sugar Powder Trap. This would force Paramount to disregard public opinion and continue their box office manipulation. That sounds reasonable, Link agreed. Accepting Jerome's advice, The Wedding Banquet earned $4.15 million in its 4th week, bringing its North American total to $19.5 million. However, this week saw a significant drop due to low attendance and many theaters reducing screenings. The film was projected to gross approximately $25 million in North America, and perhaps $50 million including international revenue. The return on investment exceeded 60 times. However, the film's marketing and distribution costs were over $6 million. Including marketing and distribution costs, the return on investment isn't high. This week, The Sugar Trap didn't see a significant drop in box office revenue, earning $12.96 million in 1,191 theaters, bringing its North American total to $154 million. However, news also broke that The Sugar Trap was suspected of box office fraud. It was claimed that the film dropped to $6.58 million in its 5th week, and based on the normal drop in box office revenue, its 6th week's gross should have been around $3 million, not $10.91 million, and this week's gross wouldn't have reached $12.96 million. Chapter 175 Box Office Fraud. The reason why The Sugar Trap saw its box office rise instead of fall is that theaters attributed the box office revenue of other films to it. These included Spy, The Alien, Indecent Proposal, The King's Journey, and Jurassic Park. These films should have had higher box office revenue this week, but they were transferred to The Sugar Trap to boost its box office and help Tom Cruise win his bet with Link. The San Francisco Chronicle's expose caused a sensation in the entertainment industry for 2 reasons. First, The Sugar Trap was highly anticipated, and any negative information about it would attract significant attention. Second, the report involved the blockbuster Jurassic Park, and popular stars Tom Cruise and newly minted billionaire Link. This led to many media outlets reprinting the story. Even though CAA, Center for America's Attorneys of America, successfully lobbied the media outlets of the 7 major media groups, it was impossible to ensure that all media outlets would refrain from reporting the news. Besides some American media outlets not belonging to the 7 major media groups, many international media outlets also reprinted the story. Following the news break, Paramount Pictures spokesperson Andrew Cripps responded in an interview, stating that the San Francisco Chronicle's report was seriously inaccurate and that they would file a lawsuit against the Chronicle, demanding an apology and compensation. After Paramount's statement, the San Francisco Chronicle published box office data for several films in its latest report to confirm that The Sugar Trap had indeed engaged in box office fraud. Meanwhile, The Hollywood Reporter reported that some viewers complained of seeing other movies but being given tickets for The Sugar Trap. Such cases had occurred multiple times in theaters across the country over the past 2 weeks. Journalists also discovered that many theaters were selling The Sugar Trap tickets at discounted prices, for as little as $4 each, less than half the initial price. Some theaters were even running promotions, giving away the Sugar Trap tickets with the purchase of other movies, then recording the sales as the Sugar Trap, making it appear as if they were seeing the Sugar Trap and receiving free tickets for other films. This news sparked heated discussions within the entertainment industry. Many industry insiders, after seeing the changes in the box office data for the Sugar Trap, could guess that the film's box office performance was questionable. However, Paramount Pictures, the film's distributor, firmly denied that the Sugar Trap had cheated on box office figures and threatened to sue the media outlets that were falsely accusing Paramount. After seeing the news, Paramount's CEO, Shirley Lansing, called Michael Ovitz of CAA. "Michael, it's time to stop. Many media outlets are now reporting on the abnormal box office figures for the Sugar Trap, claiming we rigged the figures. This is very bad for the company. The board has called to inquire about the situation. I can no longer pretend nothing happened, Shirley, don't worry," Michael Ovitz replied. "Just 3 more weeks. Just 3 weeks to get the Sugar Trap to $200 million at the box office, and I promise you won't have to worry about the rest. Besides, a big hit like the Sugar Trap will also greatly benefit Paramount," Shirley Lansing said. "Michael, given the current situation, it won't be difficult for the Sugar Trap to break $200 million in 10 weeks. Isn't $200 million enough to guarantee you a win against Link's new movie?" Michael Ovitz replied. "For others, $200 million might be enough, but we can't be complacent about Link. His first 3 films were all incredibly successful at the box office, nearly $80 million for the first, over $600 million for the second, and over $300 million for the third. His fourth is his first big-budget film, and it hasn't been released yet. Nobody can predict how much it will ultimately gross. Therefore, the Sugar Trap needs a lot more box office revenue to ensure we don't lose the bet," Shirley Lansing said. "Since you know Link's new movie has great box office potential, why did you bet against him?" Michael Ovitz said. "It's a little game, a game between men. I wanted to play with Link, but I didn't want to lose. A man's game? That's none of my business. Now that Link has evidence of inflated box office numbers for the Sugar Trap, Paramount can't pretend nothing happened. You have to get rid of those news stories in the media this week, or next week we'll end this partnership and bring the Sugar Trap's box office back to normal." Shirley Lansing hung up the phone. Michael Ovitz heard the buzzing on the receiver, put down the phone, and said to Ron Mayer and Jay Maloney on the other end, "That woman's tough." Jay Maloney chuckled in agreement. Link exposed the box office fraud of the Sugar Trap through the media, putting Paramount under pressure. "It will be very difficult and costly for us to continue manipulating the box office figures," said Langmeyer. Michael Ovitz replied, "First, contact the media and continue to suppress this kind of news. Don't let them get too out of hand, and reduce the pressure on Paramount. It will be very difficult," Langmeyer said. "I heard Link spent millions of dollars to create this news. To suppress this valuable news, we'll need to spend many times that amount. If we lose the bet, we'll lose not only the $30 million wager, but also the tens of millions spent on PR and box office manipulation. If we win, we won't even earn a few cents. It's not worth it." Michael Ovitz frowned, also feeling the situation was quite troublesome. Continuing PR and inflating the box office figures for the Sugar Trap would require even more investment. A win would barely break even. A loss would mean even greater losses. But without continuing to inflate the figures, there was no way to secure a win against Link, which made him very uneasy. This put him in a dilemma. Jay Maloney glanced at the two men and said, "Based on the current situation, the Sugar Trap has a very good chance of breaking $200 million at the box office, becoming the second highest grossing film of the year. Link's new film, on the other hand, had a mediocre test screening. Even if it does well, it won't reach $200 million, Ovitz said. "It's hard to say." Fred Olen and the others thought Paranormal Activity was a terrible film during its test screening, believing no one would watch it after release, yet it grossed over $600 million worldwide. Jay Maloney said, "Perhaps we can wait until Link's new film is released and then figure out a way to prevent the media from reporting on it, or only report negative news, making it a huge flop. If done properly, it will be difficult for his film to be a big hit." Ovitz nodded. He would do the same without Jay Maloney saying so. But that wasn't enough. "The people betting against Link this time aren't just us. There's Richard Gere, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, and a few others. If they lose, they'll lose a lot of money too. To ensure a win against Link, They should also spend some money on public relations, Ronmir nodded. Ovitz called Richard Gere and others, asking them to pool together $10 million to inflate the box office of The Sugar Trap, promising to help them win the bet. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.